Nobody does it, Bennett. Yes, I've gone and said it. Movies and games, some things that are lame. Nobody does it, Bennett. Meh.
Good evening and welcome. There are some superb movies ahead on Movie Review Universe. Next time, we'll join Michael J. Fox as he scares up some cash in the 1996 film The Frighteners. Right now though, it's time for Spider Man 2. Hello and welcome to Nobody Does It Bennett, Movie Review Universe, otherwise known as the MRU. I am your host, The Greg Bennett Experience, and tonight I have the gang back together, Tenson and Keelin, as we go through the movie Spider Man 2 from 2004. Tenson, back again for round 2. We know your brief history of the character Spider-Man from the previous podcast, so do you have any favourite villains from the Spider-Man universe?
Oh, very good question.
No,
I mean, I've got to say Doc Ock. I mean, he's such a great villain, and the way the character was written, I think, is really good, and, you know, how the arms control him and everything. But he's also at conflict with himself, because, you know, he's a good character, but also a bad character as well, because of the arms, so that was quite interesting.
The Spider-Man 2 kind of version, or?
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 kind of version, yeah.
Yeah, the comics be like, he was Spider-Man himself for a little bit, so the spectacular Spider-Man.
Very good.
Doc Ock, yeah, he's an interesting character because, like, obviously in the Sam Raimi universe, he's a very different character than what you see in the comics. Even in the new 2018 PS4 game, he is a completely different character again, where he's someone that Peter knows before everything goes down, and he's even more sympathetic than he is in this, in the 2018 one, which is interesting. So, not good choice. Keelin, how about you? Any favourite villains? Don't think Arms in the universe, but yeah.
Arms. Well, Ock's got 4 of them. Or 8, I guess.
Dr. Octavius, man with 8 arms.
Dr. Octopus. I guess Venom, even though, like, dependent, if you look at it comics or movie standpoint, because he's kind of an anti-hero, depending on who his host is. Like, Eddie can be a bit of a douche, but then he was hosted to Flash Thompson as well in the comics, and he became Agent Venom, so he was a hero then. I guess Venom, though, just for the complexity of his character, and depending on if it's the movie or comic version, still quite complex.
He'd be a close second for me as well, I think.
I think it frustrates me the most about Venom is I'm not a huge comic reader, so I don't really understand the Venom from those worlds, because obviously that's the reason why they bring him to life, is he's so popular in the comics. In the live-action movies so far, no spoilers for Spider-Man 3, I guess, but he hasn't been done well. Again, the new game that's coming out looks like that Venom is going to be purely a pure villain.
Yeah.
He's going to be the pure terror, which I've always wanted to see in a Venom character. Like, they kind of lean into that in the Tom Hardy ones, but they don't either as well. They make him more, again, like an anti-hero. Yeah. I want him to be a pure villain. I want to see him just absorb people and then just nothing but bones comes out of something. That's what I want to see, and I haven't seen that yet in live action. So
reminds me of some old Spider-Man games where you could play as Venom and you could do that. You just suck people in, drain all their life force for your health, and then straight back out. But they're still intact.
I'm surprised no one said Green Goblin, but I'm also impressed.
Oh, it's too obvious.
Yeah.
Like me and Batman, Joker's not my favourite. Like, he's the most iconic, and he's probably the one that can do the most stories. But some other ones like Ra's al Ghul that I actually like more.
Is that your favourite Batman villain?
Because he can attack Batman on so many different levels. Not just his moral compass, not just physically, not just mentally, but everything at once.
Well, you've got Damian as well.
Yeah.
That's like a weapon locked and loaded already in itself.
Again, that's also part of the emotional part of Batman. Joker is trying to make Batman crack, make him break his code, emotionally just disturb him and destroy him. Riddler's trying to outthink him. Bane is trying to outmuscle him. But Ra's is trying to do everything and more at him, which I think is incredible. But anyways, we're speaking Spider-Man villains here.
Are we doing Batman? Like the Batman?
Batman podcast.
I'm just Peter Parker. I'm Batman no more. For me, I've put Mysterio as my favorite.
I was thinking Mysterio was gonna
Simply
pop up.
for the possibilities of visual illusions alone, just what he can bring to the screen. Like Spider-Man Far From Home showed you that in a sequence that Spider-Man trapped in an illusion is something incredible.
That was good.
Yes, he's just an illusionist and he can't actually fight and stuff, but some of the visuals for that are amazing. And I'd just love to see that and more of it. Right, have any of you played the PS2 game Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, ages ago though. I never finished it.
I think me too, about a long time ago, probably when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Don't really remember too much about it.
I think PlayStation 2 was the last console for PlayStation I had before I got an Xbox, and then it was a PS4 Pro I upgraded to, so I never really played much PlayStation games in the time between those.
It's actually one of my favorite PlayStation 2 games probably of all time.
I've heard the web swinging mechanics before all these like 2018 ones came out, like the PS4 game you mentioned, were considered the best of that time from Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2. Like, nothing beat it.
They were the best for like about 15 years.
Yeah, that's what I heard from at least most of Spider-Man 2.
It was just incredible. Like the game like itself had no right to be as good as it was. Spider-Man PS2 is one of the greatest movie tie-in games ever, and for good reason. Until the Batman Arkham series came out, this was probably my favorite game of all time. I played this so many times. Like, there's a little girl like, my balloon! And you have to go and rescue her balloon.
Oh,
I don't know if it's the same game, but all I can remember from Spider-Man games is Friend and Foe from the Wii, and then that one clip of if you fail the QTE QuickTime event, you just faceplant in the ground, and the girl's like, I'm going to die!
That's actually Spider-Man 3.
Is that 3? Okay. Cool.
The camera was so bad in the 3-1, you couldn't see where you were half the time.
yeah.
Got frustrated, but Spider-Man 2, yeah, kind of perfected it, and then they kind of ruined it with the next one.
Yeah.
Now, the 2018 Spider-Man game for the PS4 has surpassed it as the best Spider-Man game, but I do think Insomniac does owe a lot to the PS2 version. Like, even they go back, I think the mechanics, the basic swinging mechanics from the new Spider-Man is pretty much taken from the original, but it's enhanced even more.
Yeah, just touched up, probably.
Which, I thought, I wondered if you guys play that, because it's a really, really good game, and obviously it was for this movie. It's like, not very often we can talk video games on MRU, so.
No, it was, I think Spider-Man 2 was one I used to hire at Video Easy and play like during the week. Yeah.
I remember doing that.
Yeah,
Great
good,
times.
good fun.
Tell me more about this hiring of things. Belongs in the museum. If you like what you hear or have any suggestions or thoughts for us, who knows? It might be about Spider-Man 2. Well, you can contact us by going to the Nobody Does It Bennett Facebook page or by hitting us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com or by going to our website nobodydoesitbennett.buzzsprout.com. Nobody Does It Bennett is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast outlets. Nobody Does It Bennett is also available now on YouTube, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Just remember that's a Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. Right. Keelin, Tenson,
Peter!
take my hand, son.
No, Greg. I'm just Keelin and Tenson.
I'm Spider-Man, no more.
Ladies and gentlemen, Spider-Man 2 from 2004.
Cue the opening theme. So good.
Nobody does it, Bennett. Whack.
Movie begins with a credit sequence that has some iconic web effects mixed in with artwork of moments from the first film. A quick recap with the stirring Danny Elfman Spider-Man theme. It's actually a cool way to start this. Just like, it's got the same kind of webs from the first one, but it has the artwork of the first movie, kind of giving you like a brief kind of recap. Yeah, it's better than, I guess, going previously on Spider-Man.
Dragon Ball Z style.
Pretty creative.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good way of like also doing the credits and actually having something to kind of like keep you watching them.
Yeah, it's like a comic. It's like comic style.
Yeah.
Just like minus the bubbles.
Because there's not too many these days that have intros.
No, they kind of just get straight into it.
No, the music sort of draws you into the title sequence as well because, it's so iconic.
It is good. We talked about it in the first Spider-Man, just how good the theme was. It just carries on. It's just still the same theme, but it's still so good. Or as James Franco would say in Spider-Man 3, so good.
So good.
Cut to an advertising poster of MJ.
She looks at me every day. Mary Jane Watson. Oh boy. If only she knew how I felt about her. But she can never know. I made a choice once to live a life of responsibility. A life she can never be a part of. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man, given a job to do. And I'm Peter Parker, and I too have a job.
Parker! Parker! Stop! Stop! Peter snaps out of his MJ trance and almost runs Mr. Aziz over with his scooter bike. I do like the wheelie thing he does to stop the bike in time, almost goes head forward up his bike. Like, oh god, like only Spider-Man can stop him that way.
Yeah, his powers.
And maybe half the MCU.
Parker, you're late, man. Always late, huh?
I'm sorry, Mr. Aziz. There was a disturbance.
Peter tucks his Spider-Man glove deeper into his pocket.
Totally not obvious at all.
Disturbance, another disturbance. Always a disturbance with you. Come on, 21 minutes ago. In comes an order. Hamilton, Burton and Smith, 8 extra large deep dish pizzas. In 8 minutes, I'm defaulting on Joe's 29-minute guarantee. Then, not only am I not receiving no money for these pizzas, but I'll lose the customer forever to Pizza Yurt. It's like, why would you lose the customer if you're getting free pizzas?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'd be hoping that they're late. Look, you're my only hope, all right? You have to make it in time. Peter, you're a nice guy, but you're just not dependable. This is your last chance. You have to go 42 blocks in 7.5 minutes, or your ass is fired. Go!
Go!
Cut to Peter riding on his scooter with his pizza order. He's weaving around cars, trying to get across town. Peter realizes that he's not going fast enough. Time for plan B. Peter sprints into an alleyway with pizzas. A man sees Pizza run with the pizzas. The man then sees Spider-Man swing by with a stack of pizzas.
Whoa, he stole that guy's pizzas!
Nice.
Pizzas!
I love the emphasis he has on there, eh? A lot of the one-lines in this are actually quite fun.
They are.
So I've added them in. We've got about 90% of the script in here, and I'm ashamed.
So many good lines.
Spider-Man is swinging around when he notices kids running to grab their ball on the road. Where a truck is driving down. Spidey throws the pizzas down on the balcony railing and goes to save the kids. He swings in just in time to grab them. A man sees the stack of pizzas on his balcony. Apparently this guy was actually one of the writers of the movie. The guy that's here in the balcony, he's part of the crew of some sort. I think he was a writer, but he might be a producer or something.
Oh. Hey, you guys, no playing in the streets.
Yes, Mr. Spider-Man.
See ya.
He's just like, see ya, bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Don't play on the streets. All right, see ya.
They run back onto the street.
Wow, you look like Buddha Parker.
Buddha.
Buddha. You can hear a random citizen say, way to go, Spidey. It reminds me of the video game where you're just walking on the street and people are like, yeah, Spider-Man.
Yo, Spidey, a high five!
Spidey grabs the pizzas off the balcony railing, but the man has a slice in his hand. As the guy goes to take a bite of the slice of pizza, Spider-Man webs it back. Gross. I mean, that pizza has touched someone else's hand and has a web all over it now. A web that comes directly from Peter's body.
Oh yeah, it's the biological.
It's like snotting all over it. Cut to the Hamilton, Burton and Smith reception desk. An assistant is in a chair at her desk chewing gum. The assistant is played by Emily Dishnow, older sister of Zoe Dishnow, and a star of the TV series Bones. Yeah, she's in the Bones.
I thought she looked familiar, actually. Yeah.
And she's the older sister of the girl from New Girl.
Oh, okay.
I think she's also in Yes Man with Jim Carrey. The assistant can hear sounds coming from the supply closet. Peter comes out of the closet, trying to hold up the mops and brooms he's knocked over. This bit goes on for about 20 seconds or so.
It was a long one, man.
It's long. And he's like pushing
So
one up.
awkward.
He's pushing one up and then the other one's falling down.
It's when his arms are going like right, left, and then another one falls each time he switches arms. I'm just like, that's pure comedy.
You know, Raimi would be like, all right, now the other one's coming down, and he'll have the production crew just pushing another
Yeah.
one down, another one down.
It's like to Maguire, like, just look confused and done.
Would have been the only direction.
We've done it for 3 hours, but let's keep going. Peter approaches the desk with a stack of pizzas.
Pizza time.
Some of the boxes look munched and beat up. The assistant looks up at the clock. You're late. I'm not paying for those.
Had to get the chewing gum noise in
You
there.
gotta have the chewing gum. That's part of your character.
Yeah.
Peter unbuckles the mountain climbing rope strapping from the pizzas. They could just cut away from this, but Raimi doesn't. He makes you feel the awkward silence while Peter undoes the ropes and walks away.
He walks away though, but he goes to walk back towards the janitor closet, and the girl's like, elevator. He's like, oh right, that's right.
Yeah, in this film, like, there's a lot of scenes where most movies will cut away, but Raimi leaves it in for like another 30 seconds or so. He'll just keep the shot.
So good.
It's really good. Cut back to Joe's Pizzas. Joel's 29-minute guarantee is a promise, man. I know to you, Parker, a promise means nothing. That line must sting, Peter, how a promise means nothing. If only Mr. Aziz knew. But to me, it's serious.
It's serious to me too, Mr. Aziz.
You're fired. Go.
Please, I need this job.
You're fired.
Look, give me another chance.
Mr. Aziz looks sadly into Peter's eyes. walks towards him, and then rips the Joe's Pizza sticker from his helmet. It's not a clean rip, though. It has a lot of left behind white fuzz from a sticker. That ripped off stickers on his helmet the rest of the movie.
That shame that he has.
Peter is left stunned from being fired by Mr. Aziz.
You're fired. Parker, hello. You're fired. Why? Dogs catching frisbees? Pigeons in the park? A couple of geezers playing chess?
Boss.
Not now. I thought maybe the Bugle could show another side of New York for a change.
We got 6 minutes to deadline, Jonah. We need page 1.
Parker, I don't pay you to be a sensitive artiste. I pay you to... Still, not now.
Betty walks away again.
Not now. Still not now.
I pay you because that psycho Spider Man will pose for you. Spider Man won't let me take any more pictures. You've turned the whole city against him. A fact I'm very proud of. Now get your pretty little portfolio off my desk before I go into a diabetic coma.
Jameson's desk radio buzzes. Boss, your wife's on the line. She says she lost her checkbook.
Thanks for the good news. Please, isn't there any of these shots you can use? I really need the money. Oh. Miss Brent?
Yes?
5 minutes to deadline, Jonah.
Run a picture of a rancid chicken. Here's the headline. Food poisoning scares Sweep City.
Some food got poisoned?
I'm a little nauseous, yeah. All right, Mr. Jameson.
Peter hands Jameson a photo of Spider-Man.
It stinks, Robbie. There's your page 1. Masked menace terrorizes town.
I told you he's not a menace.
I told you.
I'll take care of it.
I'll give you 150. 300. That's outrageous. Done. Give this to the girl.
I like that. That's outrageous. Done.
I like you. You know how to do business.
Thanks you. Bye-bye.
Peter gives the paycheck to Betty. Hey, Pete. I don't think this covers the advance I gave you a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, right.
Sorry. Hey, chin up, okay? Your life just sucks, but chin up, all right?
And you just lost your job?
Your uncle died last year. You're doing fine.
Cut to Peter running to get his college class. Peter runs into someone and drops his books. As he's picking up his books, he's getting bags smacked into his head as they walk past him. Fun fact, one of the people who smacked Toby in the head with a bag was director Sam Raimi.
I did hear about this, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Some of those shots look brutal.
I know, right?
You can see the look on Toby's face when he's getting hit by some of those. He ain't acting.
No, it's like, come on.
He's like out of high school and I'm still getting this.
As Peter gets back to his feet, he runs into Dr. Connors. I mentioned this in the first Spider-Man podcast, as Peter worked for Dr. Connors in the lab and got fired in the first film. But here, Dr. Connors is his college teacher. Weird. He just keeps hearing Dr. Connors' things.
Oh, hey, Dr. Connors. Sorry.
Where you headed, Parker?
To your class.
My class is over. See me standing here?
I'm sorry. I'm trying. I want to be here.
Then be here. Look at you, Peter. Your grades have been steadily declining. You're late for class. You've always appear exhausted. Your paper infusion is still overdue.
I know. I'm planning to write it on Dr. Otto Octavius.
Planning isn't a major at this university. Connor starts to walk away. Octavius is a friend of mine. You better do your research, Parker. Get it done, or I'm failing you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dr. Connor's obviously setting him up for later on to become Lizard. So you got to like him. And I actually, this small brief moment, because this, and there's a little bit later on in the montage when he's like, way to go, keep it up. You get to kind of get to know him. And I think they do a good job because I like him automatically. Like, you know, he has to be the teacher, but he's also helping Peter out a lot.
Like a mentor.
Yeah, or a lizard.
Yeah, like a lizard. I can't remember the last time a lizard helped me out with my studies.
I've had plenty of lizard friends in my life. It's a shame we never get to see this version of Dr. Connors become the Lizard. I mean, I know it was eventually done in The Amazing Spider-Man, but it would have been better, I believe, with this personal connection between him and Peter. And he's a good actor too, the guy who plays him.
Yeah, he's not bad.
He is, yeah.
Even more so for the next movie.
Don't get any of this on you, Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't.
It's like, I'm serious.
You don't still have this, do you?
I like how the first thing in his head is to, like, question Parker and not just be like, yeah, this isn't even from Earth. I should, like, report this or something. Like,
Yeah. Comic books, I don't have time for that. Cuts of Peter driving his scooter to Aunt May's at night. It's Peter's birthday. Harry and MJ are also at Aunt May's.
he lives in another reality, don't you, Pete?
Hi, MJ.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Hey. Long time no see.
So, how's the play? I read a great review.
It's going fine. It's going good. She's brilliant in it. Harry sent me one. It's legit work she does. God, we're with Peter.
Peter.
I love when this podcast just delves into mumbling and Peter will always slip through.
Needed a joke, just insert Peter.
So, where you been, pal? You don't return my calls.
I've been kind of busy.
Taking pictures of Spider Man. How's the bug these days? The less you see of that man, the better. Now let's all go into the other room and have something to eat.
The group walk into the dining room part of the house, which is like just a couple meters from where they were.
Yeah, like 2 steps.
Let's go all the way into the dining room, guys. It's like 2 steps.
So, how are things going at Oscorp?
Oh, they're great. I'm head of special projects.
Seriously, who puts a 20-year-old as head of division in a major corporation, let alone Harry?
He looks like such a bachelor boy as well.
Yeah, it's like, oh, great, I've been buzzing all day, smoking weed.
Just did a line of coke as well. Oh.
Classic nepotism right there.
We're about to make a breakthrough in fusion. Oh, how lovely. Harry, your father would be so proud. Rest his soul. Even if he had those eyes. Those horrible yellow eyes. I had no idea what that line was. I was like, she didn't say that, and then I saw all caps. Oh, I see.
You may see I've snuck a few lines in there, Keelin. Even more than last time.
I've noticed.
Yeah, that's half the fun, is you don't know what lines are going to actually be correct.
And then Harry casually just goes, thank you. We're actually funding one of your idols, Pete. Otto Octavius.
I'm writing a paper on him.
You want to meet him?
You'd introduce me?
You bet. Octavius is going to put Oscorp on the map in a way my Green Goblin father never even dreamed of.
Number 2. Aunt May asks MJ to give her a hand. Harry glances over at MJ and then back at Peter with like a look on his face.
She's waiting for you, pal.
What do you mean?
The way she looks at you or doesn't look at you, however you want to look at it.
I don't have time for girls right now.
Why? Are you dead?
I've been kind of busy.
Taking pictures of your friend?
Can we get off that subject? I want us to be friends, Harry. I want us to trust each other.
Then be honest with me. If you knew who he was, would you tell me?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, okay. You know what, Harry? I'm Spider Man, okay? I killed your father, and I would do it again. You know why? Because he flicked some dirt in my eye.
He went, sleep.
Jokes. Now back to the real story.
If you knew who he was, would you tell me?
Peter says nothing. Harry looks angry and turns away from Peter. What I like about this scene is like Harry's like real friendly, like, hey, I'll invite you. And then it's like, I've been busy. Why? Taking pictures of the bug?
Of the bug.
How's the bug?
Taking pictures of your friend is like,
The bug.
Franco's not the worst actor, but he's not the greatest actor, but when he flexes the switch in this, you can actually see it. And I actually think it's very good acting.
He does look like a Harry Osborn as well, which is really weird. Like, the more I look at him, I'm like, man, I look at him comparing comic pages to him, I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see it.
It was cast pretty well.
Yeah, I don't think I respected the subtlety of his performances when I watched it the first time. I was like, Harry's kind of like the character that you don't think changes much, but he just has little nuances.
He does.
Little plot points.
Cut to a little later. Peter sees the notice of a foreclosure on Aunt May's house. Aunt May is asleep on the kitchen table, or maybe she's dead. Better check for a pulse. Peter wakes Aunt May up. What a dick.
Aunt May?
Oh, what, Ben? Wait. Oh.
Aunt May?
Oh, my. Oh, Peter. Oh, for a second there, I thought I was years ago. Everybody's gone, aren't they? Did they have a good time?
I'm sure they did. You okay?
Of course. But you go home. And be careful. I don't like that scooter thing you drive around.
I'm worried about you. You're so alone. And I saw the letter from the bank.
Oh, my. You did?
Stop snooping through other people's stuff, Peter.
Yeah, that is kind of private, you know.
It's very private.
I kind of look through your letters. I already know what's going on. I'm not going to help you because I'm Spider Man, but I can't do anything with money, so I'm just going to have to let you like die horribly alone. And
I am a non-profit organization.
Anyway,
Oh, well, so I'm a little behind. Everybody is. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm tired. You better start back home.
Aunt May gives Peter a $20 note.
Here, kiddo. Happy birthday. You need it more than I do.
I can't take that from you.
Yes, you can. You could take it from me. For God's sakes, it's not much. Now take it. And don't you dare leave it here. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just that I miss your Uncle Ben so much. Can you believe that it's been 2 years next month since he was taken?
Yeah, Peter. Can you believe that?
I think to myself at times, were I to face the one responsible for what happened, I don't know what I'd do.
I'd made the new Green Goblin.
Yeah, legit.
The look on Peter's face is it all. The emotion and fear of telling Aunt May that in his mind, he is the one responsible. Yeah, he has an ugly cry face, Tobey Maguire, but a lot of times you can see the water up in his eyes that he wants to tell her that what actually happened, but he's scared to lose her. He's only got her left in his life pretty much. He's pushing everyone else away, including Harry, because he doesn't want to tell him what happened. MJ, because he doesn't want her to be hurt, and he doesn't want to push Aunt May away, and he would do that if he tells her what happened.
Tells her, exactly.
Yeah. Cut to Peter taking the trash out the back door. I guess, Keelin, they put a back door in it. That's a Deep Blue Sea joke there for you. Not sure what that means. Go back and watch Deep Blue Sea.
You'll love it.
MJ is sitting on the back door porch of a parent's place next door. Just like the last Spider-Man podcast, I'm going to skip their talk here. I've pretty much had every line so far, so it's time to give old Greg a rest. Old Greg.
I'm old Greg.
I'll give you that one, I gave you that one. Peter talks about seeing MJ's billboard on the Bleaker. He says it's nice, as now he can see her every day. MJ says how it was nice seeing Peter tonight.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. What?
Nothing.
That's what you are, Ipkiss. A big nothing. Sorry, that was a shout out to the Mask fans out there. I've seen my YouTube numbers for the Mask podcast. I know you're out there. Peter and MJ keep the will they won't they thing going. As MJ is walking away, after flirting with Peter something wicked, MJ goes, oh, by the way, I'm seeing someone now. I was like, she's like really been flirting with him all night. Oh, by the way, I'm seeing someone now.
Poor Peter.
Poor John Jameson. And it doesn't seem like he's anything like his dad either, John.
No.
Peter tells MJ that he's going to see her in a play tomorrow night.
Don't disappoint me.
I won't.
Cuts of Peter walking up the stairs to his apartment.
Rent.
The door opens from behind Peter. It's his European landlord, Mr. Dickovich.
Hi. What's hi? Can I spend it? I have a paycheck due this week and you're a month late again. Again. I promised as soon as... If promises were crackers, my daughter would be fat. I'm really sorry, Mr. Dickovich. All I got is this 20 for the rest of the week.
You wish I had an Australian into that. 20 for the rest of the week.
Hang on.
Mate, I've only got a 20.
Mate, you're dreaming, all right?
I'm really sorry, Mr. Dickovich. All I got is this 20 for the rest of the week.
Mr. Dickovich leaps out of his chair and snatches the money from Peter's hand.
Sorry doesn't pay the rent. And don't you try to sneak past me. I have ears like a cat and eyes like a rodent.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Dickovich.
Ursula, Mr. Dickovich's daughter, accidentally causes the food she is cooking to catch fire.
Because she burnt herself. Because it's like, oh, hi, Pete, puts the hot spoon she was using to stir the food. It's like,
One thing I notice every time I watch this is how fake that looks when she drops the spoon into the... Hi, Pete.
At least they used real fire.
yeah.
You could have this movie without Mr. Dickovich and probably tell the same story, but it just adds so much to it.
Rodent man, rodent.
I think it's the memes that have come since of Mr. Dickovich.
Yeah, I think it's too. I think partly that, but it just adds a little bit of extra layer. Like, also adds a bit of lightheartedness to what otherwise could easily be a very dark and sad movie.
Yeah, they didn't need to add him, to be fair.
But I liked what they did. Mr. Dickovich closes the door on Peter. Peter goes into his crappy little one-bedroom apartment. It has a bed, a sink, and some cupboards. The door is hard to open and the walls look greyish-brown. Every now and then a subway goes by. The whole room shakes. The life of a Spider Man. Cut to the next morning. Peter is heading towards the shared bathroom. Mr. Dickovich walks right past Peter and goes into the bathroom. Mr. Dickovich then opens the bathroom door and says, "Rant?" Peter then just closes the door back on the bathroom.
He looks so dead, like walking. He was like, "Whoa, bathroom," and then he opens the door. His eyes are wide and aware, like, "Rent? You've got money for me?"
This is the time I'm going to give you rent when you're about to go and have a shower.
Yeah.
Cuts to Otto Octavius working in his lab/apartment. Harry has come to see him, and he's brought Peter with him.
Nobel Prize, Otto. Nobel Prize. And we'll all be rich. It's not about the prizes, Harry. But you need money. You need Oscorp. Who do we have here?
This is my good friend I called you about. The guy who got me through high school science.
Peter Parker, sir. I'm writing a paper on you.
Yes, yes. I know what you're doing here, but I don't have time to talk to students right now. But Oscorp pays the bills, so... Right, that's why I have to take off. Board meeting. But my job is done here. Got you two geniuses together. Good luck tomorrow, Otto. A Nobel Prize. We'll see you in Sweden. Interesting fellow, your friend.
I won't take much of your time.
Parker. Now... Parker.
Parker, he's the one. We can destroy him.
Parker. Now I remember you. You're Connor's student. Tells me you're brilliant. He also tells me you're lazy.
I'm trying to do better.
This line comes back in Spider-Man No Way Home. If you haven't seen No Way Home, well, you had your chance. I do like how it comes back though. It's like when he sees him again, he's like, how have you been, my boy? And he goes, trying to do better. And it's all that. It's like, oh, that'd be right in the Spider-Man toes.
The callback.
Right in the Spider-Man toes.
Being brilliant is not enough, young man. You have to work hard. Intelligence is not a privilege. It's a gift. And you use it for the good of mankind.
Peter quickly changes the subject, being told he's a lazy student who can't keep a job, who can't get the girl, can't pay his rent, and can't tell his best friend the truth. Seems to be weighing him down.
Yeah, so much.
I wish the next line was from Otto, just going, so, is that it?
So is that it?
Yes. My design to initiate and sustain fusion.
I understand you use harmonics of atomic frequencies,
Sympathetic frequencies.
harmonic reinforcement,
Go on.
and exponential increase in energy output.
I remember my sister getting real upset by the science in this. She would say, that's not how fusion works. Good times.
Simpler times. A huge amount of energy, like a perpetual sun, providing renewable power for the whole world in the palm of my hands.
Palm of my hand.
Power of the sun in the palm of my hand. Cut to later on, Peter and Otto are still talking over dinner.
Are you sure you could stabilize the fusion reaction?
What have we been talking about for the last hour and a half? This is my life's work. I certainly know the consequences of the slightest miscalculation.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to question you.
But yet you did, Peter. Trust me. I'm not going to turn into a supervillain and terrorize the city with metal robotic arms or anything. Just relax.
Shocked to know that wasn't in the script.
Yeah. No way.
I read it with such fever, though. Rosie, our new friend thinks I'm going to blow up this city. You can sleep soundly tonight.
Otto's done his homework. Come to the demonstration tomorrow and you'll see for yourself. I'm thinking I might eat a shot of glass to my face. We'll just have to see.
Damn.
And you need to sleep soundly tonight, Otto.
Did Edison sleep before he turned on the light? Did Marconi sleep before he turned on the radio? Did Beethoven sleep before he wrote the Fifth? Did Richie McCoy sleep before he led the All Blacks to the World Cup glory? That McCoy was just complete instinct.
That's good.
Did Bernoulli sleep before he found the curves of quickest descent?
Ah, Rosie, I love this boy.
Yeah, for now. Let's see how you do later on.
Yeah.
Peter, tell us about yourself. Do you have a girlfriend?
Well, I don't really know.
Well, shouldn't you know? I mean, who would know?
Leave him alone. Maybe it's a secret love.
Love should never be secret. If you keep something as complicated as love stored up inside, gonna make you sick. I finally got lucky in love.
We both did. But it's hardly perfect. You have to work at it. I met him on the college steps, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy. He was studying science, and I was studying English literature.
That's right.
That's right,
Right. I was smoking a durry. That's right. I was trying to explain the theory of relativity.
Uh-huh.
And Rosie was trying to explain T.S. Eliot. I still don't understand what he was talking about.
Oh, come on. Yes, you do.
I'm serious. T.S. Eliot is more complicated than advanced science. But if you want to get a woman to fall in love with you, feed her poetry.
Peter says it like he's found the answer.
Yeah, like his life.
When actually the answer is for Peter to stop turning down her obvious advances.
And the last movie, start of this movie.
She even said at the end of the first film that she wanted to be with Peter. But he turned her down. So Peter, stop pretending you don't understand MJ's intentions, you schmuck.
He says no to her in the last movie.
Yeah, but it
And
is.
then
It's like he says like, "Oh my god, that's how good it is." Like, but you keep
You had her!
Turning it down.
turning her down.
You already had the bag. You fumbled.
She pretty much like dropped her clothes in front of you. And you're like, nah,
Nah.
I can't do that.
I can't. I'm Spider-Man.
I don't like Kirsten Dunst, my bad. Never fails.
I included the whole scene here, as is an important one. Within a very small window of time, you have to get to know and like Otto and Rosie. I think this scene does a good job of that. Makes what happens later all the more tragic. Because you got to like them before you see them as villains, otherwise you don't care for Otto at all. When he becomes Doc Ock, you're like, he's just another villain. But he's not. He's someone who's obviously...
There's a lot of human.
Well, again, it's another form of mental illness, because he's got voices literally in his head telling him to do bad things.
Exactly. The arms.
Cut to Peter reading poetry in a laundromat while he waits for a load to finish. Again, Peter, stop.
Day by day, he gazed upon her.
The buzzing of the machine means it's time for Pete to stop reading poetry and to grab his washing. Peter looks around to make sure no one sees him put a Spider-Man suit from the machine into his bag. Peter then grabs his white underwear, which now has a red-blue colouring to them. At least there were no brown stains, Pete? Do you know why he was red-blue in the underpants? Because he was washing the American flag.
Yeah, that's why.
That's what Andrew Garfield says when Aunt May asks him why everything's red-blue in the wash.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm washing the American flag.
I'm so patriotic, man.
Great excuse.
It's what Ben would have wanted.
Beer.
Better.
Guts up, beer. Getting dressed and ready to go to MJ's play. The song Hold On by Jet is playing. I actually like the song.
It's very fitting for the scene as well. In the movie. It's quite nice.
Peter grabs his ticket to the play. The importance of being earnest. Peter runs down the stairs as he can hear Mr. Dickovich asking for rent. Mr. Dickovich runs out of the toilet, his pants still around his legs.
Where's my money? Sound like Mr. Krabs. Where's my money?
Ursula just looks at her dad like, seriously, Dad, what are you doing? Cut to the theatre. You can see Bruce Campbell, the usher, directing people into the theatre. MJ is getting ready in the makeup area.
You seem jittery tonight.
That's what I had.
That's all good. Works for me. You never know who's coming.
Seriously, Peter, how much more obvious does MJ need to be? Peter grabbed a bunch of carnation flowers. When he hands over the money, the florist takes most of the bunch away, leaving only a stem with a few flowers. Meanwhile, some criminals are doing criminal things on the streets, smashing into cop cars and stealing stuff. The criminals run over Pete's scooter. Pete flips into the air to avoid the car. Then Superhero lands down right by some kids who are stunned by this.
How'd you do that?
I'm a predator.
Work out. Plenty rest. You know, eat your green vegetables.
That's what my mom always said. I just never actually believed her. Even though the character was created in 2011 and this movie was released in 2004, do you think that one of those kids could have been Miles Morales? Because it's before this film came out before Miles Morales was created. But now they can go back in time like they did with Peter Parker and Iron Man 2.
Yes.
It's like, he was there the whole time,
I
guys.
feel like the timeline wouldn't fit up there.
I think the kids are too young.
Yeah.
Tom Maguire's like 30 now, so in that scene. The criminals continue their criminal ways by criminally shooting their criminal guns at the chasing police.
Jesus.
Do you know those guys are criminals?
You struggle to read, say, one word, like the, and then you say something like that with no problem at all.
That's weird, isn't it? My brain's weird. One of the car flips and flies into the air and looks like it's going to hit a crowd of people, but something stops the police car in its tracks. It's a web. Spider-Man swings by the crowd. Go, Spidey, go! I don't know why you used two different colours for the same citizen, but I did.
Yeah. Two different personalities, midnight.
Luckily, Jared Leto didn't swing by. Otherwise, it might have been Morbin time. I love the shot of Spider-Man swinging in between the truck and trailer. Like when he's like goes in between it. It's like,
Really good.
The criminals now react to Spider-Man chasing them. They fire their criminal guns in a very criminal way. It's Spider-Man. They shoot into some nearby windows and buildings. Don't worry, I'm confident no one was shot and killed. You can see, like, when he's getting shot at, it's going through windows and walls. Like, man, people got killed by that. The criminals are yelling with their criminal voices. MJ is in the middle of her play and gets distracted by the empty seat that was supposed to be Peter. It makes her mess up her lines. Peter arrives at the theatre in the car the criminals probably stole.
Hey, Chief, you parked there. I'm towing it. Whatever.
He did steal that probably as well, though, so that's the thing.
Criminals.
He's a menace, Parker.
He's a menace. He steals cars.
And also parks them in non-parking areas.
Because
What a criminal.
Because he's Peter No Parker.
I like that. Peter No Parker.
That was great.
Oh, that's classic. I like that. That was good. Now that no joke can top that, let's just move on.
Thanks, mate. I got that at the podcast.
Peter No Parker. I love it. Peter enters the theatre and approaches the usher at the door. Shoelace. Peter bends down and ties his shoe. You might wanna. Points at Peter to straighten his tie. Can I help you?
Yeah, I've come to see the show.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. No one will be seated after. Sorry. See, I screw that one up. I say criminals a million times.
I'm sorry, criminal.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. No one will be seated after the doors are closed. It helps to maintain the illusion. Interesting that the usher emphasizes the word illusion here. Mysterio indeed.
Very true. Miss Watson, she's a friend of mine. She asked me to come.
But not to come late.
I have to see the show. Just let me in. I'll stand in the...
Shh. Oh, there, whistled there. Shh. Oh, he's doing it again. Stop whistling, Greg. Shh. Usher points to the second sign on the door. Quiet, please, while the play is in progress. Cut to Peter sitting outside over the road from the theatre. A violinist busking lady starts to play the classic Spider Man theme.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spears a web and he sighs, catches thieves are just like flies. Look out! Here comes the Spider-Man.
That lady's great.
She gave it her all. And got paid so much, probably.
Everyone remember her like, oh, you're the one from Spider Man.
Yes.
No one remembers the guy busking in the first one now. Because of her.
The Chad Kroger.
Peter notices the crowds from the play heading out of the theatre. Peter sees MJ from afar.
May I have your autograph, please, miss?
The man kisses MJ. That's not how you're supposed to write autographs. John Jameson is actually here played by a New Zealand actor, Daniel Gillies. And you guys know he was New Zealander?
No.
He used to be in a TV show with Jay Laguerre, Street Legal. It was like a lawyer show.
Yeah.
He was actually in the first couple of seasons. Peter looks distraught by how MJ gives autographs, so he decides to walk away.
I wanted an autograph.
MJ looks over to the empty spot that Peter was just in. Does MJ have a spidey sense too? Because she was looking right where he was. Peter goes all angry. He goes into the alley and suits up into Spider-Man. As Spider-Man is swinging through the city, his web gland seize up, meaning he can no longer produce webbing from his wrists. This, in the medical world, is known as spiderwebicus nogois. It's a medical term, guys. It's a serious medical problem.
Okay.
Spider-Man falls from a great height. You can hear his blood-curdling yowls as he falls. I didn't notice how curdling it was when he falls onto those pipes. He's like, ah! I was like, whoa, he's crying for his life.
Yeah. Well, when you're falling that far.
Yeah. Anyone would.
Spidey lands hard onto some steaming pipes. That's gotta hurt.
What was that?
Spidey pulls off his mask and tries to produce bodily web fluid, but can't. Cut to a man waiting with his dog for an elevator. The man and his dog get on when the door opens, but is surprised to see a man dressed as Spider-Man in the elevator. Little does he know, though, that is actually the wall-crawling hero. This leads to an awkward elevator ride.
Cool Spidey outfit.
I agree, the Raimi Spider-Man 2 outfit is my favourite Spidey suit of all time. Big difference between the Spidey-Man... Spidey-Man.
Spidey-Man!
Spidey-Man! The big difference between the Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 suits is in the first film, the back spider is more true to the comics, having a big fat juicy bug on the back, while the Spidey 2 suit has a spider more detailed, similar to the spider logo on the front.
That's cool.
The black suit in Spider-Man 3 though is a close second. I think Raimi and co. nailed the suit designs. I love the suit designs in these movies. They're my favourites.
This next line's fitting. Thanks.
Here we are.
Where'd you get it?
I made it.
Looks uncomfortable.
Yeah, it gets kind of itchy. And it rides up in the crotch a little bit too.
This line creates an awkward tension. Or should I say, an awkward Tenson.
As soon as you said
great.
Or should I say, I was like, oh, Tenson's getting hard.
Oh, I was just going to say, isn't that sequence in the elevator like only in the extended cut? Or
No,
is
it's in the
No,
standard.
Oh, it is
so
in the actual.
It's extended out as in the guy that sees in the elevator with goes like fully into the business, like, yeah, you've nailed the suit, you've nailed the design. I think you could do this. Here's my card. And then Peter's like, I don't have any pockets. And he's like, oh, well, we're in the building, so you know where we are.
Yeah, it's a completely different scene in that one. Like, they even take out what they've said in this one.
Yeah, complete new
Replace it.
dialogue.
Extended it, yeah.
Yeah. which changed it completely rather than extended it. Cut to Peter dragging his broken bike behind him as he walks past a whole wall of MJ posters. It's just insane how many posters there are. Like, he's walking past and there's a few posters here. Then, like, they cut down to small posters, but the same thing. And it's like he's walking, like, must be like a kilometre of pathway, and there's nothing but MJ posters.
That's so well done, though, because it's almost like it's haunting him.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But also the poster guy, man, that sucks.
Yeah, for real. I was watching it with a little bro, and he was like, that was a bit excessive. I do not think there needed to be that much.
And that's what I think this movie's about. It's about smacking it into Peter's head just how much
He's losing
everything. Like, he can't do anything right. And the world around him is not doing him any favours. Cut to Peter the next day using a payphone in the city. What is a payphone? If you don't know, go ask your parents. Peter rings up MJ and leaves a message on her phone. MJ is there, but is too angry at Peter to pick up. The camera is constantly moving around Peter in the scene and is also spinning around at MJ's place. Made me dizzy when I was trying to read subtitles. You notice that? When he's on the phone, the actual camera keeps spinning around. And in MJ's is also spinning around. I'm like,
oh.
you notice it when you're reading subtitles. I didn't notice it until then. I was like, oh.
Vertigo.
Peter says how he wanted to be at the play and how complicated a simple thing like being someplace at 8 o'clock can become. Peter then says how obnoxious the usher was. Something's got to be done about him. Peter runs out of time as he has no more money. But Peter doesn't put the phone down. Instead, he pretends to continue the conversation with MJ's answering machine.
I want to tell you the truth. Here it is. I'm Spider Man. Weird, huh? Now you know why I can't be with you. If my enemies found out about you, if you got hurt, I could never forgive myself. I wish I could tell you how I feel about you.
Peter hangs up the phone. Cut to Otto's apartment. People are coming for Otto's presentation. Harry and Peter are there.
Ladies and gentlemen, my wife Rosie and I would like to welcome you this afternoon. But first, before we start, has anybody lost a large roll of $20 bills in a rubber band? Because we found the rubber band.
The crowd laughs. What a joker Otto is.
Wrong universe, mate.
Or maybe the right universe.
Oh, you never know. But thank you for coming. Today, you will witness the birth of a new fusion-based energy source. Safe, renewable energy, and cheap electricity for everyone. And now, let me introduce my assistants.
Otto pulls the cover off an object in the middle of the room. It's a metal robot-looking thing with 4 long metal tentacle arms.
These 4 actuators were developed and programmed for the sole purpose of creating successful fusion. They are impervious to heat and magnetism.
The metal band wraps around Otto's waist, while a metal spine crawls up Otto's back. There is a little light at the top by Otto's neck. A whole lot of tiny little needles dig into Otto's nervous system. I'm like, when it does that, it pops in.
That's surely harkens back to Raimi's horror days.
It does, and I'm almost wondering if, I'm not sure in the original Spider-Man comics or not, if Octavius's arms are adamantium. They don't have adamantium in this, but they didn't have the rights. Don't do vibranium because they probably didn't want to explain it.
No.
But yeah, I wondered if that was the case. Otto uses his mind to raise up the tentacles. Harry is astonished. Sorry, that's a callback to Harry Potter podcast. About 10 times in the podcast I put Harry is astonished.
For the 10th time.
Yeah. So once you got a Harry in here, I was like, I can do that again. I love the design of the tentacles. I really like how much personality Raimi gives them. They have their own character, really.
Yeah, for real. Like, even the little white light in the middle of the tentacles looks so much like an eye, and depending on how the claws open or close or what angles, it's cool.
Yeah, and
Cool.
it turns red when they're actually taking control.
Yeah, really great direction there.
These smart arms are controlled by my brain through a neural link. Nanowires feed directly into my cerebellum, allowing me to use these arms to control fusion reaction in an environment no human hand could enter.
Not there. If the artificial intelligence in the arms is as advanced as you suggest, couldn't that make you vulnerable to them?
How right you are! Which is why I developed this inhibitor chip to protect my higher brain function.
Otto points to that little light at the top of the metal spine on his back.
It means I maintain control of these arms, instead of them controlling me.
Whew, that's a relief. I now feel confident that nothing can go wrong with them for the rest of the movie.
And now on to the main event. Give me the blue light, Rosie.
Bunch of lab coats move away some science techie things on wheels to reveal an egg-shaped metal pillar construction. Looks like when you cut an orange into quarters, then stand them back slightly apart. Looks like a bunch of orange peels that are just...
Oh, it does now that you think about it. I had
Yeah.
to get that image in my head.
A wee tube of little yellow ball, and it pops up.
Precious tritium is the fuel that makes this project go. There's only 25 pounds of it in the whole planet. I'd like to thank Harry Osborn and Oscorp Industries for providing it. Happy to pay the bills, Otto.
Rosie hands Otto some goggles. He smiles at her one last time. I know, it says Google.
Some Google.
It says Google.
What is this Google? I know Internet Explorer.
Search engine. This will change everything. Rosie hands Otto some goggles. He smiles at her one last time.
Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts.
Otto turns on the machine.
Doctor, we have successful fusion reaction.
Everyone applauds. Yay! Then, a bald business guy.
Oh
places
my
his-
God.
yes. Then, a bald business guy places his hand on Harry's shoulder. This is a breakthrough beyond your father's dreams.
Thank you.
Look at it. So dramatic, that guy. This is the breakthrough beyond your father's dreams. So dramatic.
I know.
The yellow ball now looks like a mini sun.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
I love that's one of the greatest lines in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The power.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. Nothing will stop me. Nothing!
A Spider Man.
Peter notices a metal paperclip getting dragged towards the fusion reaction. Then the metal lights start to bend towards it. Metal objects like watches and jewellery then start to violently rip off and head into the fusion reaction.
Keep calm. It's only a spike. It'll soon stabilize.
Otto gives Rosie a worried look. Peter walks off. What a coward.
Say, I'm done.
He's not going to help them.
Spider-Man no more.
Harry turns to Peter to realise he has vanished. Computer reads, caution, overload in progress, system unstable. The metal sheets ripping out of the walls freaks me out, not to mention the glass windows.
There's that horror. We have a containment breach.
One of the flares of the fusion reaction escapes the metal shell and hits the roof. Otto, please get back!
Shut it off, Otto. Shut it off. It will stabilize. It's under control.
Seriously, Otto?
I'm in charge here. It's my money. I'm in charge.
A monitor saves Harry. Saves Harry, sorry. A monitor moves towards her. A monitor saves Harry.
I am from the future. I am here to save you.
Next issue of Monitor Man. A monitor moves towards Harry. Spider-Man swings in and grabs Harry before he gets hit by the monitor.
This doesn't change anything.
Come on now, Harry.
Harry.
Harry. Spider-Man swings on the roof towards the power cables.
What are you doing?
Pulling the plug.
No!
Otto knocks Spider-Man down with one of his tentacles. If only Otto had let Spidey pull the plug. The metal window frames then start to bend, cracking the glass into jaggery little knives. Jaggery's not a word, but I've just created it.
It works.
Jaggery little knives.
Jaggery. Coming in with some jaggery.
Jaggery. It's not Mick Jaggery though, because if you start me up, I'll never stop. That's what they should have been with this fusion reaction. It should have just been a Mick Jagger in the middle going, if you stop me up, if you stop me up, we're going to shut it off. I'll never stop.
It works.
I'll be running hot. The power of the
He's
sun.
got too much jag.
The glass comes flying through the room. Rosie screams. I love the shot of the glass reflecting Rosie as it flips towards her. You notice her face is in the glass
Really
as
well
it goes
done.
towards them. Ooh. The sound of the glass hitting her face.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can actually hear the flesh squelch. And the way she dropped as well was quite
Like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, legit. She gave her all to it, that one.
Imagine if this had been Evil Dead. Rosie's face would have been separated by the glass. The body would have dropped, while half her head would have been on the wall of the glass. And then she probably would have come to life talking.
I mean, I think Sam Raimi kind of tamed it for this one a bit.
Yeah, because it was suitable for all audiences, this movie, wasn't it?
But you can see the horror influence
Yeah.
in
Oh,
this
definitely.
a lot. And that's one of the scenes. Obviously, later on in the surgery room, we're
Yeah,
going to see that
that's
as well.
the other one. Great
I
scene.
love that scene. That's probably the best scene in the whole movie for me.
The distraction causes Otto to get hit by an energy flare. The energy runs up the metal spine and destroys the inhibitor chip. Spider-Man gets up and pulls out the power cables to stop the fusion reaction and help Otto. The exploding and imploding shot of the fusion reaction looks pretty cool, if not a little dated. I love it. It explodes out, then it goes in.
Early CG. Whoa. Yeah, CG. Yeah, no, definitely.
Wasn't bad for 2004. Yeah. Like, 2 years between that and the first one, like, they upgraded their stuff quite a bit.
Cuts to outside Otto's apartment. The emergency services are there tending towards the wounded, and the cops are closing off the street and building. If he had more than a drop of tritium, he could have destroyed the city. Bull business guy, he's dramatic. I have to make him so dramatic.
Yeah.
What happened to It's beyond your father's wildest dreams.
What a change.
You've got no dreams.
The power of the hand in the palm of my son.
Power in my hand. I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Spider-Man.
He saved your life, sir.
He humiliated me by touching me.
I never got the sense that after this, Harry was financially ruined. Like, in the third movie, he still has his house money and tech. It's like, he didn't get financially ruined. He just like, oh, well, I've got nothing else interested in me at the moment. I might as well go and try to kill Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Tech that countries would probably pay billions for as well.
But you never get the feeling he's financially ruined. Like, he's at the pie later on, even later on when he's drinking, he's like, you don't get the feeling that he's lost that much money.
No.
Could have done a better job of making him look like he's ruined everything. And then that could have been a good reason for Norman to come back.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, if only you were here. So he's kind of letting him back into his own mind.
Mr. Osborn, the press will be here soon. I suggest we move on.
What was he doing here anyway?
Rosie's body gets wheeled away. Her face looks pretty clean for having a shot of glass through it. Or did the glass hit a different part of her body? I'm always assumed it was her face because you could see it, the reflection.
Literally coming straight towards her eyes.
Yeah.
So.
But later on, she's got no cuts on her face.
It's that movie magic, though.
Maybe they just forgot about that.
Anyway, Rosie's dead. And Peter comes out of the apartment looking suspicious. Cut to the hospital. That's what it says on the building. Hospital. It doesn't say St. Mary's, St. John, just hospital. A team of surgeons are preparing to remove the metal arms of Otto. The arms are fused to Otto's spinal column. One of the doctors holds up a circular saw.
Anyone here take shop glass?
A man has a serious accident. Let's all laugh about it.
Accident. That was no accident.
The doctor is startled when one of the tentacles appear to move. You can see one of the tentacles come to life in the reflection of the assistant's goggles.
Very slowly.
This movie loves reflection shots. There's so many reflection shots.
There is quite a few.
Yeah.
We just had one with the glass flying towards Rosie's
Yeah,
eye.
and there's this one. There's also the one later on with Spider-Man swinging through the city, and then you realize it's my favorite shot of the whole movie, and you realize it pulls out and it's actually Otto Octavius' reflection.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, that's a
that's
good
so
shot.
So good.
That's a good shot.
That's a Raimi trait.
Yeah, so good. The tentacles start to attack the surgical team. Highlights include man being grabbed by the face, man being lifted up and his knife going through a light, electrocuting him, woman being dragged, leaving fingernail marks in her wake. You know how they did that? They actually put wax on the ground.
Yeah, it looked
So when
like
she got
wax.
dragged away.
It looked like wax.
Man trying to use chainsaw on tentacles, and first-person tentacle stalking view. I like this. We talked about it on Deep Blue Sea, how the first-person shark shots. When I saw this tentacle part, I was like, that reminds me of Deep Blue Sea.
Just like Deep Blue Sea.
It's like Deep Blue Sea. There you go, Deep Blue Sea. You got mentioned. It wasn't Jurassic Park this time. It was Deep Blue Sea. We haven't mentioned Jurassic Park until that moment, actually.
I know, we were close.
Otto wakes up. The tentacles remove his little eye bandages. I don't know why, but I really like the delicate touch the tentacles have when they remove his eye bandages.
Yeah, like they're so careful with him. It's like almost like a child and a mother or something.
It's just so cool. And I was like, eye bandages. You never see those.
No.
Even when I got my eyes surgically done, they never got eye bandages like that. Mind you, I didn't have tentacle arms over, so... Otto looks around at the devastation, then has a real Universal Hammer horror moment when he dramatically yells, "No!" while the tentacles react and rise into the air.
His nose hit different. They kind of remind me of Darth Vader's nose.
Yes, I was about to say, it reminds me of episode 3.
Yeah.
No! Like stage show dramatic.
yeah,
Yeah.
very dramatic.
Only one that did it better was those two people in Hot Fuzz and the Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, yes.
I love that movie.
It's like, mwah, mwah, a little bit more. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Yarp.
Cut to Otto breaking through the door and heading out into the streets of New York. The sign by the door says Midtown Hospital, so they actually did have a sign further down, just at the main hospital, it said hospital.
Didn't show it yet.
No, this mustn't be too far from Peter's old school, because the school was called Midtown High. All right, Midtown High, don't get lost.
Same area.
Yep. Next person who talks is going to fail this course, I kid you not.
That's what he sounded like.
Otto flings an approaching taxi into the air with his metal arms. The shot of Otto turning suddenly and the tentacle opening up, it looks damn cool. So there's a shot where he turns and as the tentacle opens up,
He's like, camera, I have to look good.
it's like, so good. Cut to Otto walking up buildings with his tentacles. He sees an abandoned building on the docks. The building has half sunk into the water. Wonder what it was. Maybe a boat shed? I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah.
No.
Cut to the daytime at the Daily Bugle.
It's all over town, Robbie. Gossip, rumors, panic in the streets, if we're lucky. Crazy scientist turns himself into some kind of a monster. 4 mechanical arms wielded right into his body. Huh, guy named Otto Octavius winds up with 8 limbs. What are the odds? Hoffman?
Yeah?
What are we gonna call this guy?
Dr. Octopus?
That's crap.
Science Squid?
Crap.
Doctor Strange?
That's pretty good. But it's taken. Wait, I got it. Dr. Octopus.
But I like it.
Of course you do. Dr. Octopus, new villain in town. Doc Ock.
Genius.
What are you looking for, a raise? Get out.
Betty walks in with Peter. Chief, I found Parker.
Been looking for you all morning. Why don't you pay your phone bill? Mad scientist goes berserk? We don't have pictures.
I hear Spider Man was there.
Robbie knows who Peter's. You just
That
tell.
look, man.
Yeah.
The look is like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, he knows. Shouldn't Peter be more worried?
I don't think Peter catches on that he knows because he doesn't look at him.
No.
But Robbie knows, yeah.
Where were you? Photographing squirrels? You're fired.
Chief, the planetarium party.
All right, you're unfired. I need you. Come here. What do you know about high society?
Well,
Don't answer that. My society photographer got hit in the head by a polo ball. You're all I got. Big party for an American hero. My son, the astronaut.
could you pay me in advance?
You serious? Pay you for what? Standing there?
That's such a meme, that one. The laugh and then, you serious?
Pay you for what? Standing there.
The planetarium tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. There's the door.
Yeah, another classic Jameson scene. So good. Doctor Strange gets mentioned too, which is interesting because obviously this is long before the MCU. The fact that he's like, it's taken is like, so they're admitting that Doctor Strange is in this universe.
It's coming in 20 years.
Then again, he's an editor of a bugle and it could be a Doctor Strange that works at the hospital still. So maybe he's just a doctor. Not Mr. Doctor. That's strange. Perhaps. Who am I to judge? Cut to Otto in his half-sunken hideout.
My Rosie's dead. My dream is dead. And these monstrous things should be at the bottom of the river, along with me.
Interesting line pointing towards what's to come.
Coming soon.
That's what happens to him. Otto looks at one of his tentacles, confused.
Something in my head. Something talking. The inhibitor chip. Gone.
The tentacles then move the tips of the head like they're talking.
Rebuild. No. Peter was right. I miscalculated. I couldn't have miscalculated. It was working, wasn't it?
The tentacles almost have a rattlesnake sound to them.
Yes. We could rebuild. Enlarge the containment field. Make it bigger and stronger than ever. But we need money. Steal it? No. I'm not a criminal. That's right. The real crime would be not to finish what we started.
No, the real crime would be stealing. That's not the real crime, guys.
Which is what happens in the next scene.
Coming soon.
We'll do it here.
Otto starts to rise as the tentacles lift him up.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. Nothing will stand in our way. Nothing!
Such a good line.
Yeah.
I like how the on here, the power of the sun with an O. I have a sun in my hand, and I'm going to throw him.
It did. Bloody weird. Didn't notice
Right
that.
at Spider-Man, his weakness.
My son. Here, take him.
Children. Just like wee baby with like octopus arms, like.
Could happen. Cuts of Peter and Aunt May at the bank. Joel McHale as the banker is pretty funny wee cameo here. Obviously, I hadn't seen him in much because I did watch a little bit of Talk Soup, which he would have been on during this time, but obviously I know more for Community now. I'm afraid it's not sufficient to refinance your home.
Oh, but I'm giving piano lessons again.
You are?
Aunt May goes to kick Peter, but hits the banker instead. We appreciate that you've just opened a new Super Saver account with us today, but the fact is you don't have the assets to justify this loan. I'm sorry.
Well,
Aunt May pulls out an advertisement from the newspaper.
at least we get the toaster.
Actually, that's only with a deposit of $300 or more.
Oh yes, I see.
The banker walks away limping. Geez, man, she's an old lady, harden up. He's like,
He's like, oh.
It's like Spider-Man just kicked him. Maybe. Aunt May Spider-Man.
Well, there is a universe out there where she was the one that got bit by the spider instead of Peter.
Really?
I think it was just Spider-Man instead of Spider-Man.
That's clever. Yeah. Spider-Man.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
The camera spins over to Otto. He's in the bank. He uses his tentacles to rip off the vault door. The door almost hits Peter and Aunt May. Imagine if the door killed Peter. The movie would be very different. Peter runs away like a coward again. Everyone there is in trouble. Pete just gets up and runs away.
Peter, don't leave me.
That was great.
So good. Oh, that boy of yours is a real hero.
Hold it. Put your hands up! All of them!
Otto just smacks all the guards away. They should have shot Otto with their guns. Why didn't they shoot him?
They're just like, freeze.
They got him in the head, that would have been it.
Yes, that always works.
Otto starts grabbing cartoon-type bags of money. Because they're like cartoon bags of money.
Yeah. Literally with just coins in them.
Otto knows Spider-Man is coming. His tentacles are each like another set of eyes. Otto starts throwing bags of money. Spider-Man flings them back at Otto.
Here's your change.
They aren't really a problem for Spidey until his bodily web fluids stop working again. When they don't, Otto hits him with a cartoon-type money bag. Banker goes to pocket a coin and gets slightly slapped on the wrist by Aunt May. Banker lets out a big, ow! Does this guy have like brittle bone disease or something, or is he just a big sook?
A big sook. I think he's a sook.
She slapped him on the wrist, he's like, oh, ow! Otto wraps up Spider-Man in his tentacles.
You're getting on my nerves.
I have a knack for that.
Not anymore.
Otto starts to crush Spider-Man's skull with his tentacles. It looks pretty brutal.
Yeah,
It's
what
like
a
crushing him up. Spidey's bodily fluids start working again.
Oh, thank God.
Hallelujah.
So he grabs onto two tables and cross-arm flicks them at Otto. The first table was deflected by Otto, but the second one knocks him through a window. Otto starts throwing bits of taxi at Spider-Man. Another cool dodging shot, followed by getting the boot of a taxi right in the gut. So Otto takes Aunt May hostage and climbs up a nearby building. Otto smashing through the walls of the building looks pretty cool, you know, so he's just like going through the walls with his hooks.
Yeah.
Brutal.
So good.
Spider-Man jumps on the wall in front of Otto.
Hand her over.
Of course.
Otto starts to pass Aunt May towards Spider-Man before dropping her.
Butterfingers.
Spidey uses his webs to catch Aunt May. He slingshots her back up the building. Aunt May uses her umbrella to hook onto a nearby statue. Otto and Spider-Man continue to fight, dropping chunks of building to the crowds below. Stan Lee is down there trying to save people.
He actually was.
Yeah,
He's the real hero.
He has 2 movies in a row now that he's actually been trying to move people out of the way of things falling. Like in the first movie, it was at the parade.
When the rocks from the rubble of the balcony came falling down.
Yeah, he's just
The Macy Gray scene of the first one, yeah.
Hey man, no, I had a man. Aunt May starts to slip from her umbrella. Spider-Man tries to get up to save her, but Otto keeps interfering. The sideways wall fighting is pretty cool and different from the styles of fights you saw in the first film. So they have a lot of like fights on the side of the walls.
The camera was very fluid in that shot as well. It was just quick, fast paced. Yeah. Loved it.
Impressive.
Impressive.
Otto throws Spider-Man across a nearby building. Spidey goes through a window. Aunt May loses her grip and falls about half a meter to a ledge below. Aunt May looks at the nearby statue.
Thank you.
Otto then grabs Aunt May again.
Oh.
Must suck for Peter to see Aunt May in peril, especially knowing that he couldn't save Uncle Ben and now May might die too.
That's morbid.
Spider-Man sees Otto with Aunt May from across the building.
You stuck your webs in my business for the last time. Now you'll have this woman's death on your conscience.
This is how much those words mean to Peter. That he won't realise what he's saying there, but that would be another thing on his conscience for sure. Spider-Man web attaches to the sides of the window frame. He then pulls back and slingshots himself towards Otto. Otto has a spike come out of one of his tentacles behind his back, just waiting to stab Spider-Man. Aunt May sees what he's about to do.
Shame on you.
Aunt May cracks Otto in the back of the head, shattering Otto's glasses in the process.
See, why couldn't Kirsten Dunst do that at the end, huh?
Well, that's it.
That would have been better.
Otto learns from this, which is why MJ's sneak attack later on doesn't work, because he sees it coming because of what happened here.
We think too much alike.
Oh.
I keep predicting your next lines.
Sleep. Did you predict that? Huh?
Yes! I did!
Impressive.
But yeah, I think that's a setup for why he hits MJ later on and she can't do the same thing.
Yeah.
Otto drops Aunt May. Spider-Man shoots down after her and grabs her with his webs, propelling himself towards her, while slowing her progress down. Spider-Man and Aunt May swing off while Otto escapes with his bags of money while cops fire at him. Spider-Man lands with Aunt May.
There you go.
Thank you. Oh, how high.
Sorry, I had a stroke there, one sec.
I'm having a stroke. Peter.
Thank you. Oh, have I been wrong about you?
We sure showed him.
What do you mean we?
Oh.
And that is the moment I believe that Aunt May realizes that Peter is in fact Spider-Man.
Yep.
I still don't understand how she doesn't recognize the voice.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's got to be the voice.
Same with Harry, MJ.
He's not like Batman. He doesn't change it.
Mm.
He's like George Clooney Batman. He doesn't change it.
It's like, what sort of an aunt is she? Doesn't recognize her nephew's voice.
And what does she mean? What do you mean we? Like, you did clock him around the head with your walking stick. Like, you guys made
No, she's trying to say that she was the one that did all the work.
Ah,
Yeah, that's what he's like. Oh,
That makes sense.
yeah, that's why he's like. Oh, okay, sorry.
she gets a free Super Saver account now in her name.
Yeah, a toaster. She gets the toaster.
She gets the toaster.
Time for a quick Spidey swinging through the city shot. Cut to Peter at the planetarium party, and the gag that Peter can't manage to get anything to eat or drink. They're like right through it, like trying to eat the last thing, and someone takes it, or it's an empty glass. Just keep
It's
going.
just like a metaphor for the whole movie. You just can't get anything right.
Nothing nice happens to Peter until the moment when Ursula says, "Do you want some chocolate cake?"
Yeah,
That is like
true.
the first moment that anyone's actually showed, apart from Aunt May, has shown Peter any kindness in this movie. The more it builds up, the more you understand why Peter doesn't want to be Spider-Man. Like, if he just gone like Superman 2, he's like, I'm giving up my powers for love. It's like, yeah, but you have a responsibility, and I feel like you didn't understand how important Spider-Man was. The fact that he's can't be Spider-Man anymore because his webs aren't working, because of the fact that he's doing too much. He can't pass anything in school because he's Spider-Man doing everything else. He can't be there for Jameson for his job, so he's getting fired constantly from jobs.
Can't go see a play.
This whole build-up is just beautifully done. That when he goes, I'm Spider-Man no more, like, it's heartbreaking to see him with Uncle Ben, but you understand it. Like, it takes an hour for you to realize, go, you know what? I understand why you don't want to be Spider-Man anymore, because
That sucks.
It's hard life.
Peter takes some photos for the paper. Well, he tries to, but the lens cap was still on.
Damn it.
Harry is at the bar drinking. I like the blue wine glasses.
They were quite pretty.
They were cool.
Hey, you might want to take it easy, buddy.
Why? It's a party. Wouldn't you be drinking if you lost a bundle on some crackpot who you thought was gonna take you with another stroke?
I have constant strokes during this.
That's all good. We the stroke boys. Actually, no, that doesn't sound right.
Hey, might want to take it easy, buddy.
Why? It's a party. Wouldn't you be drinking if you lost a bundle on some crackpot who you thought was gonna take you with him to fame and fortune? Not to mention your friend, the bug.
Not tonight, Harry.
Every night until I find him. It's 24/7.
Parker! 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 What are you, deaf? I called you twice. Come on, you think I'm paying you to sip champagne? Here, get a shot of my wife with the minister.
Beautiful tie.
Get a shot of us with the DA.
Beautiful dress.
Here, get a shot of the mayor with his girlfriend. Wife. Wife.
Awkward. And he's just like looking at him like, Captain John Jameson is then introduced to the audience. The first person to play football on the moon. John comes down the stairs with MJ. Peter is stunned and just stares. MJ sees Peter and doesn't look too pleased to see him. Peter goes outside for some air. The missing out on food continues. He then sees MJ.
Hi.
Oh, you.
Listen, I'm sorry, but there was a disturbance in the force. I felt it.
I am the force is with me.
I was expecting disturbance. There's always a disturbance with you.
I don't know you. And I can't keep thinking about you. It's too painful.
I've been reading poetry lately.
Whatever that means.
Day by day he gazed upon her. Day by day he sighed with passion. Day by day...
Don't start.
Can I get you a drink?
I'm with John. He'll get me my drink.
Or you can get it yourself, MJ. You don't need no man to get you your drink.
Damn.
By the way, John has seen my show 5 times. Harry has seen it twice. Aunt May has seen it. My sick mother got out of bed to see it. Even my father. He came backstage to borrow cash.
Still don't know why Spider-Man didn't deal to MJ's white trash dad.
Yeah, still. But my best friend, who cares so much about me, can't make an 8 o'clock curtain. After all these years, he's nothing to me but an empty seat.
Oh, that line though.
And then MJ drops the mic, walks away. Peter looks like he's going to cry.
Mic drop.
You want forgiveness, Pete?
Good religion. There we go.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Coming soon. Peter grabs a glass of a tray, but yep, that's empty. Peter goes back inside where Harry confronts him.
It pisses me off. Your loyalty to Spider-Man and not to your best friend.
Wait, I thought MJ said she was his best friend. Oh well, never mind.
I find him with my father's body, and you defend him because he's your bread and butter.
Harry shoves Peter.
take it easy. Don't push me.
Don't act like you're my friend. You stole MJ from me. You stole my father's love. Then you let him die because you didn't turn into freak. Isn't that right?
Harry slaps Peter.
Isn't that right? Huh, brother?
Harry slaps Peter again.
You know why your father's dead? Because he was the green freaking goblin. His wounds were from his own glider. As your butler... Bernard! Ask your butler Bernard. He probably cleaned your father's wounds.
What everyone was wondering what he didn't say to Harry in that situation. I mean, he was drunk, but still.
If you haven't seen Spider-Man 3, that's not going to make sense.
I don't know why he's also like, you stole MJ from me, while like legit the guy John is about to say, oh yeah, she agreed to marry me.
It's just built up rage that he's just
Yeah, he's
after Peter. Which is interesting because once he knows the truth, he's not that angry anymore.
yeah.
He's more scared. Oh, he's more like, oh god, I slapped Spider-Man twice in the face. He's going to come after me.
Oh no. Where's the serum?
That's all Peter needed to say I put there. That's all we need to say.
Yeah.
Yep.
Harry walks away. Then John, in case anyone's wondering, he didn't actually say that last part, Peter.
Yeah.
In case everyone's like, wow, I don't remember that.
If you
in Spider-Man
couldn't
2.
tell.
Then John announces that MJ has agreed to his decent proposal rather than his indecent proposal to marry him. Reference to another movie. Take another shot. What a night to be Peter Parker.
Parker, wake up! Wake up! Show the picture!
Peter has to take the picture of this special moment. Cut to Spider-Man swinging around the city when suddenly his bodily web fluid stops producing web again.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Spider-Man hits two walls, then lands face first into a puddle on the ground.
Why is this happening to me?
Peter starts climbing up the wall like in the first film. The music hits when he starts touching the wall. Notice again, it goes dun, dun, dun. But then like it stops after all. Rather than the first movie where it kept going, this one kind of stops quite quickly because he starts to slide.
Starts losing the powers.
Peter gets a few meters up the wall before his grip goes and he slides back off the wall into the ground. Peter looks at a nearby copy of the Daily Bugle. He can hardly see the headline. Spidey and Ock rob bank, because his eyes are starting to go again too, his vision. It then cuts to Peter in his room throwing the paper away. Did he seriously take the newspaper home with him? Peter feels his head. He's thinking that maybe he's sick. Cuts to Otto opening crates. He must have bought with the bank money. Wonder what shipping he used because they delivered really fast. It's like really quick stuff, man. Whatever you use, let me know. Cuts to Peter visiting the doctor. I'm guessing it's the university medical facility. Otherwise, how could he afford it?
Exactly.
You seem very okay to me. My diagnosis? Unidoc points to his head. It's up here. You say you can't sleep. Heartbreak? Bad dreams?
There is one dream where, in my dream, I'm Spider-Man, but I'm losing my powers. I'm climbing a wall, but I keep falling.
Oh, so you're Spider-Man.
In my dream. Well, actually, it's not even my dream. It's a friend of mine's dream.
Huh. Somebody else's dream. What about this friend? Why does he climb these walls? What does he think of himself?
That's the problem. He doesn't know what to think.
Gotta make you mad not to know who you are. Your soul disappears. Nothing as bad as uncertainty. Listen, maybe you're not supposed to be Spider-Man climbing those walls. That's why you keep falling. You always have a choice, Peter.
I have a choice.
Cut to Peter on his bed. Lightning can be seen flickering outside. You know why? A storm is brewing in Peter's mind. Conflict. Uncle Ben's now in his mind. It cuts to Uncle Ben and Peter in like a car. It's in the same car as the first movie. It's the same conversation as the first movie.
It's all white out.
Yeah, it's a different conversation, but in the same scenario as that. All the things you've been thinking about, Peter, make me sad.
Can you understand? I'm in love with Mary Jane.
Peter, all the times we've been talking about honesty, fairness, justice. Of those times, I counted on you to have the courage to take those dreams out into the world.
I can't live your dreams anymore. I want a life of my own.
You've been given a gift, Peter. With great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben holds out his hand. Take my hand, son.
No, Uncle Ben. I'm just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man. No more. No more.
Cut to Peter in a back alley. He puts his Spider-Man suit in a trash can. The shot of Peter walking away with the suit hanging over the trash can, iconic. Also in the episode pick.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. I'm staring at it right now. There also seems a bit of a smudge there. Or oh wait, no, Greg, that's you.
It's Greg.
Go back in the movie, my face is actually there. Yeah. I like it when the shot fades. You can see the Spider-Man costume's eyes for a moment longer. Notice that? Like it goes dark, but the eyes
Yeah,
stay.
and then the visor stay.
Yeah, pretty cool. Cut to a montage to the song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. But that doesn't mean my eyes will soon be turning red. Montage includes Peter walking and tripping, so he puts his glasses back on. Trying to fix his bike with the wheel bouncing out the window. It's like, I can't remember what the guy says, like, hey, you jerk!
It sounds alright. Yeah.
Peter eating a hot dog while cop cars go past. The hot dog seemed to have way more bun than hot dog meat. The whole meat to bun ratio was way off. When he eats it, it's mostly bun.
Oh yeah, actually true. He demolishes over half of it in a second.
And it's just mostly bun.
I'm like, where's the meat? It's just flies. Somebody just gives him a hot dog full of flies, and he's like, my favorite.
Then Dr. Connors is there too, eating like a lizard.
It had to be in there.
Peter doing his homework, and Peter not only showing up to class, but thriving. Dr. Connors even gives Peter some encouraging words.
In lizard.
And lizard tongue.
The freeze frame at the end of the montage is terrible. Blurry as hell.
Yeah, it was so
It's like,
blurry.
why would they cut on that shot? He's like, It's like, did I pause this? It seems like I paused it.
And legit, they paused and went, oh yeah, that'll do.
Nothing's worrying me.
Yeah. Me.
Cuts to Peter at MJ's play. He even distracts her to the point where she messes up her lines. Peter and MJ talk after the show as they walk along the street. MJ says that Peter looks different. Peter keeps trying to move in on MJ, but she reminds him that she's getting married. Peter tells MJ that he has changed. Things are different now.
Punch me, I bleed.
I have to go.
That line's so dumb.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Punch me, I bleed.
Could also reference Batman here. Batman vs. Superman. Do you bleed?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll find out. I have to go. You are different.
Cut to the Daily Bugle. Jameson is working on a new front page. Doc Ock still at large. Jameson is on the phone with his wife.
We agreed to put on a wedding, not to go into bankruptcy. Caviar, what are we inviting, the Tsar? Get some cheese and crackers, some of those cocktail weenies.
Betty comes in. Boss, I got a garbage man. Says he's got something you might want to see.
Don't tell me you have the head of an extraterrestrial in there, because if you do, you're the third guy this week.
The garbage man pulls out Spider-Man's mask.
Where the hell did you get that?
In the garbage. In the garbage?
Jameson pulls the rest of the Spidey suit out of the bag.
He must have given up, thrown in the towel, abandoned his sad little masquerade. I finally got to him. The power of the press triumphs.
Yeah. Now look, I think I deserve a little something for this.
I give you $50.
I could get more than that on eBay.
All right, 100. Miss Byrne, give this man his money and throw in a bar of soap.
Your wife is still on the line.
Flowers, how much? You spend any more time on this thing, you can pick the daisies off my grave. Get plastic.
So good. Robbie has a concerned look on his face while clutching the Spider-Man mask.
Gotta go, big story.
Like, because we're talking about this man Tenson before he arrived tonight, Keelin off the air, that we reckon because Robbie knows who Spider-Man is, that when Spider-Man's suit comes up and he's clutching it, he's not just worried about Spider-Man, he's worried about Peter.
Peter, yeah.
Peter. Question though, how do they know that this is the costume is the actual Spider-Man costume? And why do they assume it's his only one?
It says property of Sony Pictures on the tag.
Do you know one of them got stolen, like in the first movie, I believe?
Wait, what? Like,
Someone stole one of the Spider-Man suits.
what? Like in real life? Oh, and just stole it.
Yeah, like they had a search out for it because there was like 3 or 4 costumes made and one got stolen by someone inside.
Do you think it was the crew? One of the crew?
One of the crew members
Probably
did, yeah.
to get some cash from that.
Yeah,
They would have got fired.
We would have got a lot of money for it though.
but not as much as you'd keep in a job.
Yeah, fair.
Front page of Bugle reads, Spider-Man, no more. Trademark threads dumped by Webslinger.
A Spider-Man, where you do a Spider-Man? Where have you gone to, Spider-Man?
Well, that's great.
Thanks.
Cuts of Peter walking along the street. He sees a guy being attacked in an alley and calling for help. Peter just keeps on walking. It's like the weirdest kind of attack though. Like they're just like grabbing him. He's like,
One of the
"Help,
guys fully
help."
was just standing there like, yeah, I'm just standing here. What are you gonna do?
This isn't like a real attack.
Robbery.
Yeah, and then he remembers that it's like, oh, I'm being filmed. Let me go through your pockets. Yeah.
It looks like one of those like videos where if you see someone on the street, remember, call the cop.
What would you do?
Cut to Peter and Aunt May at Uncle Ben's grave. Aunt May blames herself for Uncle Ben's death. Cut to Peter and Aunt May at the old house in Queens. They are sitting down having a spot of tea.
Aunt May, you don't have to punish yourself.
Oh, I know I shouldn't. It's just that you wanted to take the subway and he wanted to drive you. And if only I had stopped him, we'd all three of us be here having tea together.
After a long, drawn-out pause.
I'm responsible
For what?
for what happened to Uncle Ben.
But you were at the library. You were doing your homework.
He drove me to the library, but I never went in.
What do you mean?
I went someplace else. Someplace where I thought I could win some money to buy a car. Because I wanted to impress Mary Jane. It happened so fast. I won the money and the guy wouldn't pay me. Then he got robbed. The thief was running towards me. I could have stopped him, but I wanted revenge. So I let him go. I let him get away. He wanted a car. He tried to take Uncle Ben's. Uncle Ben said no, and then he shot him. Uncle Ben was killed that night for being the only one who did the right thing. And I held his hand when he died.
Peter. Peter grabs for Aunt May's hand.
I've tried to tell you so many times.
Aunt May pulls her hand away and just stares in true horror at Peter. The shot pulls out to them both at the table. Aunt May gets up, looks at Peter, turns her back on him, and walks upstairs. The camera doesn't move for this entire bit, even after Aunt May shuts her bedroom door, just holds on Peter sitting at the table, alone. And that's what he is now. He's truly alone because everyone else is now out. Cuts to Otto rebuilding his machine in that half-sunken hideout.
Just one more little chore.
Cut to Harry in the upstairs office of the Osborn mansion. Harry is going through newspaper clippings of Spider Man.
Where are you?
Bernard leaves for the night. Nothing you wish to say, Bernard? No? Okay then.
No?
Harry takes his drink he has to the outside balcony. He can hear a loud thumping, similar, Keelin, to the thumping in Jurassic Park.
Oh no.
Oh, very true.
Harry looks over the edge of the balcony and gets shoved back by one of Otto's tentacles. Harry's drink flies through the air and is caught, still in the glass, by Otto.
Hello, Harry.
Hello, Harry!
Alright.
Otto drinks from the glass.
I like how when he's got the glass in his tentacles, by the way, it looks so much more darker and more whiskey-like, but then it's in Otto's hand and it's so clear, like tequila.
Otto drinks from the glass.
Otto? What do you want? That precious tritium. But I need more of it this time. More tritium? Are you crazy? You'll destroy the city. You're a hack.
Otto picks Harry up by the leg and dangles him over the edge of the balcony.
Stop! Stop! Alright! Alright, put me down. We'll make a deal.
Alright.
Alright.
Otto brings Harry back on the balcony.
Kill Spider Man. I'll give you all the tritium you need. On second thought, bring him to me, alive. How do I find him? Peter Parker. Parker?
Parker.
He takes...
Parker.
Not that guy. Parker? He takes pictures of Spider-Man for the Bugle. Make him tell you where he is.
Otto gets up on the balcony ledge.
Have it ready.
As Otto climbs down the side of the building, Harry yells out at them.
I loved you in the Raiders of the Lost Ark and Boogie Nights.
2 great films.
Yeah, very great films.
What Harry actually says.
Don't hurt Peter, I guess.
I guess. Cut to the Bugle front page. Crime up 75%. That sounds really unrealistic.
That is a huge increase of crime.
75%.
That's like if there was no police presence in the town.
Peter looks at the headline from a street vendor. Since I watched the normal version of Spider-Man 2 and not Spider-Man 2.1, I sadly missed out on the scene where Jameson gets in the Spider-Man suit and leaps around.
Oh yeah, I wonder why that showed up in the one I watched.
Standard cut.
Oh, duh.
He leaps around smoking a cigar.
I forgot how good of a scene that was. Because I totally forgot it existed. I thought it was a deleted scene. Or not a deleted scene, a bonus scene from the extra features. But
It's on the extended cut.
the guys are just looking through the window like...
Oh,
Leaping around.
so he was Spider-Man all along.
Well, the thing is that he showed you the hat he really likes Spider-Man, but he just doesn't want to admit it.
No.
Peter notices a building on fire. A little girl is stuck on the second floor. Peter goes charging in. Since Peter hasn't been motivated to use his powers, he is actually quite rusty. The fire looks great in this, back before everybody used digital fire. Peter tries to break down the door, but he can't the first time. He then power kicks it down. Peter avoids falling debris and finds a little girl in a closet. Peter picks up the girl and charges out. There is a bit where the floor gives way, so Peter has to one hand chuck the girl up to the floor. She's like, whoop!
Casually.
She then tries to help pull him up. I actually like that bit where she tries to help pull him up. Peter gets outside and hands the girl off to her parents. Cut to a little later. Peter's grabbing some oxygen, while a firefighter tells him that he's got some guts, kid. Peter also learns that some poor soul got trapped up on the 4th floor. The look on Peter's face says it all. Cuts to Peter looking out the window, fire escape door of his apartment.
Am I not supposed to have what I want? What I need? What am I supposed to do?
Ursula comes through Peter's door, then goes back out and knocks on the door.
Come in?
Hi.
Hi.
Would you like a piece of chocolate cake?
Okay.
And a glass of milk?
That would be nice.
Milk! What milk's she talking about?
Spider Man, rated 18.
You can suck who you like, there's no bodily fluid.
It's not working right now. I have this block, you see. It's a serious medical condition. What did you call it?
Spinous no gous or something like that?
Something like that.
That would be nice.
Okay.
Ursula just creepy stares at him while Peter finishes the cake. This is the first act of kindness Peter has received for a long time in this movie. So we talked about this before. Everything kind of builds and builds and builds and builds. And for some reason, this is the first thing he actually gets that's actually nice.
Some chocolate cake.
Some chocolate cake. Ursula takes the plate and glass off Peter.
Thank you.
Ursula starts to leave Peter's room.
Oh, you got a message. It's your aunt.
Thanks.
This is like a turning point in the movie.
Yeah, get better.
Yeah, discovering himself.
Cut to Peter going to see Aunt May. She's out in the back of the house, packing her things up.
What's going on?
Oh, they gave me another few weeks, but I decided hell with it. I'm moving on. I found a small apartment.
Why didn't you tell me?
I'm quite able to take care of myself. And Henry Jackson across the street is giving me a hand, and I'm giving him $5.
That's a rip. $5 for like,
Massive threat. Did you see how much stuff she had?
Yeah.
That's an hour?
should be $5 an hour.
Yeah.
That's Henry Jackson?
Yes. It's funny what happens in 2 years. 9 years old and has great ambitions.
Listen, about my last visit.
Bish posh. We needn't talk about it. It's water over the dam or under the bridge.
I don't wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. Sorry, she's under the bridge. Had to be said.
Or wherever you like. But you made a brave move in telling me the truth. And I'm proud of you. And I thank you. And I love you, Peter. So very, very much.
Aunt May hugs Peter. You can see the sense of relief on Peter's face.
Just cut back to the last podcast where you're like, now that Ben's gone, come on, it's some loving time for your aunt.
You know what? I actually had that line back in there.
Oh,
I was
did
like,
you?
No, I'm not going to make it a second time. This is an emotional time. I'm not going to undercut it.
It was emotional time back then as well, Greg. What do you mean?
But not twice. I'm not going to undercut it twice. You're the man of the house. Now take your clothes off.
Your aunt needs some loving.
Hey, where are all my comic books?
Oh, those dreadful things? I gave those away.
I get it, because it's a comic book movie. I put the pans in the box, Mrs. Parker.
Thank you, Henry.
Hi, Peter.
Hey, Henry, you're getting tall.
Peter sticks his hand up above Henry's head, maybe measuring for a sidekick.
You take Spider Man's pictures, right?
I used to.
Where is he?
Henry and I agree. We don't see his picture in the paper anymore.
He quit.
Why?
Wanted to try other things.
He'll be back, right?
I don't know. I haven't read the rest of the script yet.
You'll never guess who wants to be Spider-Man in the script. You'll never guess who he wants to be. Spider-Man.
Why?
He knows a hero when he sees one. Too few characters out there flying around like that, saving old girls like me. And Lord knows kids like Henry need a hero. Courageous, self-sacrificing people, setting examples for us all. Everybody loves a hero. People line up for them, cheer them, scream their names, and years later, they'll tell how they stood in the rain for hours just to get a glimpse of the one who taught them to hold on a second longer. I believe there's a hero in all of us that keeps us honest,
gives us strength, makes us noble, and finally allows us to die with pride. Even though sometimes we have to be steady and give up the thing we want the most, even our dreams. Spider Man did that for Henry, and he wonders where he's gone. He needs him.
Yeah, so 100% she knows Peter Spider-Man. After that line.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. She knows who he is. Cuts of Peter on a rooftop. The Spider-Man theme starts to play.
Strong focus on what I want.
Peter turns around and charges towards the edge of the building. Peter's slow-mo face is pretty hilarious. Peter leaps off the building.
Woohoo! I'm back! I'm back!
Peter then loses momentum at the halfway point and has a nasty fall smashing into a wall before bouncing off a car and hitting the ground.
Oh, my back!
You hear the sound of his back cracking.
Oh, my back!
My back.
Peter gingerly walks away, setting off a car alarm in the process. That's the worst thing. He's like walking away and he touches the car and goes whoop, 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 whoop.
It's like, it's not quite there for me yet.
This was apparently a play on the fact that Tobey Maguire got injured during the filming of Seabiscuit. He hurt his back, which took place between Spider-Man 1 and 2. And it's also the reason they reckon that he asked for more money, because he said he was getting injured and stuff in movies, but it wasn't Spider-Man. John and MJ are going through the RSVPs for the wedding. John asks MJ if she wants to invite her photographer friend, Peter Parker. MJ says that Peter is just a great big jerk. Strong language there, MJ. The scene ends with MJ giving John an upside-down kiss to see if she feels the same magic as when she did with Spider-Man. But she doesn't. This is weird, though, that she uses that to see if she got enough magic with him, because she goes and talks to Peter afterwards, but Peter wasn't the one that technically gave her the upside-down kiss. She doesn't know that yet, so I'm like, Cut to MJ waiting in the cafe. The front window is so big, you could probably throw a car right through it. Peter joins MJ at the table.
Some part of me heard what you had to say after the show the other night. That you were different. But I didn't want to listen. I was afraid to trust you. But I've been thinking about it.
Listen, there's more for me to say. I maybe rushed into things I thought...
Wait a minute. What are you saying?
I'm saying I thought I could be there for you, Mary Jane, but I can't. My mind was playing tricks, too.
Do you love me or not?
I don't.
Oh, wow, Tenson. I just proclaim my heart to you.
This is what happened.
Eat it up and rip and chew and spit it back out like that.
More Peter just play mind games with MJ.
Yeah.
You don't? Kiss me.
Kiss you?
I need to know something. Just one kiss.
Peter and MJ are going in for the kiss when Peter's tingle goes off as a car is flung through the window. You see? I told you it would fit.
Yeah, perfect.
That's what she said.
Cool shot, though.
Yeah, very cool shot.
They just happened to pick that cafe.
Yeah. It's when he's like diving with MJ as well. The car wheel barely misses his face. And I'm like, woo, cutting it close.
Very, very close. Then there are some thumping vibrations getting closer and closer.
And then the camera.
And it's like shaking, yeah.
And it zooms in as well.
Otto shows up.
Peter Parker. And the girlfriend.
What do you want?
Otto's tentacle grabs Peter by the throat.
I want you to find your friend Spider Man. Tell him to meet me at the West Side Tower at 3 o'clock.
I don't know where he is.
Find him, or I'll peel the flesh off her bones.
If you lay one finger on her...
You'll do what?
Otto throws Peter into a wall, which causes rubble to fall down on top of Peter. Otto runs away with MJ. Peter blasts out of the rubble. It's like, if anyone else saw that, like, hey, that guy must be Spider-Man.
Legit, he came up and everything.
Or some kind of powers.
He stands up as well. Like, he blasts up and he's immediately up. Like, that was quick. That's not average human technique.
No.
When he goes to the street, he notices everything is blurry. He takes off his glasses and everything clears up. His powers are back. Peter drops his glasses on the sidewalk and moves on with determination in his eyes. Cut to JJ staring out his office window. Robbie walks in.
Still no word on the whereabouts of your son's fiancée. Sorry, Jonah.
It's all my fault. I drove Spider-Man away.
And he was the only one who could have stopped Octavius.
Yes. Spider-Man was a hero. I just couldn't see it.
There is a sudden shaking in the office and the sounds of webs being fired.
He was a thief. A criminal.
Jameson pulls a note off the web where the suit just was moments ago. Courtesy, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
He stole my suit. He's a menace to the entire city. I want that wall-crawling arachnid prosecuted. I want him strung up by his web.
Jameson notices a window in the roof of his window is open. I don't know why they said that. Jameson notices a window in the roof of his office.
I want Spider Man.
Newspaper reads, he's back, masked menace returns, and then Spider-Man swings through the newspaper. I like that, that's cool. Spider-Man then swings through the newspaper and swings through the city. The shot then pulls away and is revealed to be a reflection in Otto's glasses.
What a shot. So cool.
Probably my favourite shot of the film. Spider-Man lands on the clock tower above Otto.
Where is she?
Where is she?
Where is she? Where's the drugs?
Rachel! Sorry, wrong universe. Oh, she'll be fine. Let's talk.
Spider-Man and Otto fight on the clock tower. Highlights include Spider-Man webbing and slingshotting clock hands back at Otto, Otto snapping the clock hands in two and throwing them back at Spidey. Spider-Man then pulls Otto off the building in a free-fall fight onto a train. Spider-Man and Otto fight on the train some more. Highlights include Spidey matrixing under a low bridge. She's like, whoa, and almost goes back Matrix style. Otto throwing Spider-Man through a cross walkway platform, which Spidey fits through a small gap without hitting anyone in the walkway.
Oh, that was awesome.
Fighting the side of the train. Fighting the side of the train. You stupid train! Fighting on the side of the train, Otto sending Spidey through a door, Spider-Man breaking free of the tentacle, and then grabbing onto a pole inside the train and swinging back out. Spider-Man almost getting hit by a train that runs up beside him. Like, that's the cool shot too when the train's coming, so he has to like lie up against the train, and you got the shot from inside the train.
The whole sequence is so good.
That's why it took 2.5 years to actually do. Like, directly after they finished doing Spider-Man, he started making that shot because it took him 2 years to actually finish it.
Wow.
Otto sneak attacking Spidey by the tentacle, punching him off the train, which then has Spidey swinging on webs and getting dragged for a while. Otto throwing people off the train after grabbing them from inside. Spider-Man sending web crash pads for those people. That's cool. He's throwing them and he's like having little crash pads as they go along.
Focused on life.
Otto sending the train into full speed before wrecking the controls. Then Otto throws the broken off controls to Spider-Man.
You have a train to catch.
Otto leaps off the train and onto a nearby building. Spider-Man goes to check the control situation on the train. Help! I can't stop it! The brakes are gone! That's the voice I'm going with.
That's pretty good. I like that.
The control panel blows up in Spider-Man's face, literally, which forces him to take his mask off. Spider-Man then gets a Peter tingle about the track ending a few miles up ahead. Spider-Man gets on the front of the train and tries to stop the train, or at least slow it down by sticking his foot out. All it does, though, is damage the track and hurt Spider-Man's legs. Any more bright ideas?
I got a few. Yeah.
Spidey then starts shooting out multiple webs to both sides of the building of the train. The building's walls break off due to the force and speed of the train. So Spider-Man sends even more webs out to the buildings and uses all his strength to try and stop the train. The force crushes in the sides of the train and rips Spider-Man's suit, exposing his big, bulging muscles. Spider-Man then uses the absolute last of his energy to stop the train as it starts to tip off the track.
Iconic.
It is, yeah. Just that, like the absolute struggle in his eyes.
Yeah. I've seen so
That
many freeze
meme.
frames. Yeah. Oh, that meme.
He does stop it though.
He does.
Because he used all his energy, Spider-Man starts falling forward and is about to fall off the train when the people on the train reach out their arms and grab him. He is then carried Jesus mosh pit style by the people on board. They lay him down on the train. Spidey is still unmasked, of course.
Is he alive?
He's just a kid. No older than my son.
Spider-Man wakes up, now freaking out as he realizes he's still unmasked. It's all right.
I wouldn't be very calm.
Two kids then come up to Spider-Man. One of them is holding his mask.
We found no, you go
Oh,
We found something.
The kid gives Spider-Man his mask.
We won't tell nobody. Does it, Bennett?
The two kids in the scene are actually Tobey Maguire's half-brothers.
Oh, really?
They are,
That's
yeah.
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Spider-Man puts his mask back on.
It's good to have you back, Spider-Man.
Suddenly, the back doors blow open. Otto has returned.
He's mine.
You want to get to him? You gotta go through me.
and me.
Me too.
The other people in the train block Otto's path to Spider-Man. I like the little nerdy bald guy at the front. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be the front.
He just pops in. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to be in the shot.
I am Spartacus.
I am
I'm Spartacus.
Very well.
Otto just pushes his tentacles through the crowd, then uses them to simply push the citizens aside. The two holding up Spider-Man get ushered away by Spidey. Otto knocks Spider-Man out, as Spider-Man has no energy to fight. The scene transitions through the logo of Spider-Man's chest to Osborn Mansion. I love that. Like, actually, you see the logo straight through to it.
At night.
Harry is drinking again. Oh my god, Harry. When Otto shows up with Spider-Man all tied up.
Where do you want him?
Harry points to the couch bed thing that Spider-Man put Norman's body on in the first film.
And the tritium?
Harry pulls away a portrait of Norman to reveal a safe. Harry opens the safe. Otto then pushes Harry out of the way.
Yes.
So good. The shot pans away with Harry for a moment. When Harry looks back, Otto is gone. Then you see Otto run down the building. So it kind of ruins that when you see him like...
He's like, gonna destroy New York.
Harry grabs a fancy-looking dagger and approaches the unconscious and tied-up Spider-Man. Hardly a fair fight.
If only I could cause you the pain that you've caused me. First we'll see who's behind the mask, and I can look into your eyes as you die.
Harry removes the mask, then drops the dagger in complete shock. It's the Tom Holland Peter Parker.
Oh no!
No, the jokes. It's his best friend version instead.
Pete? No,
Harry falls back onto a table or chair. I couldn't see which.
it can't be.
Peter comes to and gets up and breaks his restraints. All he needed was a power nap to regain his strength.
Just 20 minutes, that's all they needed.
Harry, where is she? Where is he keeping her? He's got MJ.
No, all he wanted was the tritium.
Tritium. He's making the machine again. When that happens, she'll die along with half of New York. Now where is he?
Peter, you killed my father.
No, he killed himself. He was Green Goblin, Harry.
Do you not understand?
See, how hard was that to write in?
Have you not seen the first movie, Harry?
There are bigger things happening here than me and you. Harry, please, I've got to stop him.
Cut to the half-sunken hideout. Otto is preparing a machine. MJ yells and whistles at Otto to get his attention. It's bloody annoying when she's whistling. I'm like, hey, shut up.
How rude.
You're a hostage. Shut up. Know your
How
place.
rude.
You know, he's only trying to destroy half of New York.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey! You got what you needed for your little science project. Now let me go.
I can't let you go. You'd call the police. Not that anybody could stop me now that Spider-Man's dead. He's not dead. I don't believe you. Believe it.
Otto turns on his machine. You can see Spider-Man in the rafters watching. Question. How did Harry know where Otto was?
Yeah, no clue. Plot magic. Plot.
Plot magic. You see Otto smirk as he knows that Spider-Man is there. Spider-Man goes over to MJ. Spidey says that as soon as she gets free, then slam! A piece of metal gets thrown towards Spider-Man's head, narrowly missing it.
I should have known Osborn wouldn't have the spine to finish you.
Shut it down, Ock. You're gonna hurt a lot more people this time.
Well, that's a risk we're willing to take.
Well, I'm not.
Spider-Man goes for the power cables, but gets thrown out of the roof, and has to web swing back in. Spider-Man web swings Otto through the floor and into the water. Spidey gives Otto a good old-fashioned beatdown. The fusion reaction starts to suck MJ in as she has metal chains attached to her.
Hang on, Mary Jane.
MJ heads towards the fusion reaction. Spider-Man webs onto her just in the nick of time. Almost had an amazing Spider-Man 2 problem
Yeah, I was
there.
going to say. At least you got it this time, buddy.
Spider-Man safely places MJ down and tells her to run. Otto knocks Spider-Man down. Otto then picks up Spidey with his tentacles and throws him around. MJ is just standing there in horror. Run, girl. You're just a distraction for Spider-Man. How many times he's like keeping an eye on you and keeping an eye on Otto and getting distracted? Otto picks up Spider-Man by the leg. MJ decides to grab a piece of wood and try to blindside Otto. But as I mentioned earlier, Otto has learned from when Aunt May hit him from behind and sees this attack coming. Otto just disarms her and pushes her away like she's nothing. He's like, bam! Otto spikes up one of his tentacles.
Let's see you scurry out of this.
Otto goes to stab Spider-Man. Spidey pulls up a power cable with his webs. Otto hits the cable and gets electrocuted. Spider-Man then removes the power cables. Similar situation to the first experiment. Otto's electrocuted and he pulls the power cables. Otto stops getting electrocuted and flies backward. And Spidey gets pushed back as well. Cutting the power hasn't stopped the fusion reaction this time.
Now what?
The fusion reaction is so strong, even cars in the city are starting to get affected. Reminds me of Superman 2 when General Zod and his crew are blowing a gale through Metropolis.
Everything's just going.
There's a scene where like the bad guys like they got powers as well and they're just blowing a gale and this one guy's like, ah, ah, ah. He's just pretty much, yeah. It's great. Otto is barely conscious, sitting in some water. His tentacles are not working too well at the moment. Spider-Man goes over to Otto.
Dr. Octavius,
Spider-Man removes his mask. Yet again.
we have to shut it down. Please tell me how.
Peter Parker? Brilliant, but lazy.
Look at what's happening. We must destroy it.
I can't destroy it.
Otto uses his tentacle to grab Peter by the throat.
I won't.
You once spoke to me about intelligence, that it was a gift to be used for the good of mankind.
A privilege.
These things have turned you into something you're not. Don't listen to them.
It was my dream.
Sometimes to do what's right, we have to be steady and give up the thing we want most.
Sounded like the Godfather there a bit, bro.
That's good though, because he sounded choked. I like it.
Even our dreams.
I like this, what Aunt May said to him. He's now saying to Otto for the same reasons.
Wisdom.
It is. Otto has a moment of realization.
You're right. He's right. Listen. Listen to me now. Listen to me now.
You see the face of the tentacles flicker from a red light to white lights. This shows you the moment Otto regains control of the tentacles. Otto releases the grip on Peter's throat.
Tell me how to stop it.
Sorry, I was waiting for like the gasping of air. It can't be stopped. It's self-sustaining now.
Think.
Unless the river. Drown it.
Peter goes to get up, but Otto stops him by gently grabbing Peter's arm with his tentacle.
No. I'll do it.
Otto gets up and walks towards the fusion reaction. I love all the water dripping from his coat when he gets up. So when he gets up, you see all the water just dripping. It's real cool.
The camera goes up.
Yeah. Oh, Spider-Man's thinking is, don't walk over me.
No.
Don't walk over me. Otto looks back at Peter one last time. Peter then looks back behind him. MJ is there, and she sees Peter's face. It's a mixture of surprise and relief. Peter is emotional and happy, then freaks out when he sees the structure is about to fall on top of MJ. He's like, ah! He's like, Peter jumps over and holds the side of the frame of the structure, stopping MJ from being crushed.
Hi.
Hi.
This is really heavy.
Otto walks up to the fusion reaction and uses his tentacles to pull the legs away from right under it.
MJ, in case we die.
You do love me.
I do.
Even though you said you didn't?
Yes. I've said this already. Stop giving me grief while I try and make sure we are not crushed.
I will not die, you monster.
Otto successfully collapses the reinforcements, sending himself and the fusion reaction to the depths below. The wall finally gets sucked away, so Peter and MJ get the hell out of Dodge. You see Otto's body sinking below with the fusion reaction. You see the lights on the tentacles flicker, then go out. He's dead. I like that. It's kind of like Terminator style with the lights going out.
Yeah.
No, he's not dead. He's shown with Tom Holland.
No, he actually gets grabbed before that moment. So it must be...
Oh, yeah,
No,
because
it's because he's got the
he
chip.
and he was saying, like, I had it right in my hand. It was there. But then I was here.
The moment I reckon he got transported away was when he's about to get... When he goes, let me see a scurry out of this.
Ah.
I reckon that's the moment he's about to actually...
But doesn't he realize that he died, though?
No, I think he gets told, doesn't he? Later on, they all realise... They realise because Green Goblin realised he dies, and I think someone else tells them that he died.
And then, like, Electro. Oh, yeah. No, it would have been... Yeah, it would have been Otto, I guess. Or Kurt.
I'm not sure.
One of the two scientists, probably. Yeah. Kurt Connors or Otto.
No, it was Sandman tells him. Because Sandman was in his universe.
Oh, yeah. It was me! Clint Marco!
Anyway, back to Spider-Man 2. Cuts of Peter and MJ up in a web that Peter has made in a crane. Peter calls over to MJ. It's weird that he made a whole web up there, eh?
This is where I take my girls.
Yeah.
So romantic.
I think I always knew, all this time, who you really were.
I think the line would have worked better if they just stuck with, I think I always knew. Seems like they dumbed it down the more they added to it.
Yeah.
Probably like a test audience going, I don't understand what she means. And it's like, all this time. Yeah, still not getting it.
Who you really were.
Oh.
That one guy's like, I still don't get it. It's like, Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Oh, what?
My God.
Then you know why we can't be together. Spider-Man will always have enemies. I can't let you take that risk. I will always be Spider-Man. You and I can never be.
MJ cries as police sirens can be heard in the distance. The police arrive, so Peter lowers MJ slowly down with the web. Would suck if his bodily fluid had like an issue right now and she fell down and died.
Yeah.
John gets out of the police car and races up to MJ. Very romantic scene, that one. As MJ is hugging John, she looks up to see Pete. He masks back up and swings away. Cut to Harry in his office with a dagger in his hands. A door opens.
Hello?
A familiar cackle can be heard through the house. Harry is looking around the room for the source of the sound.
Who is that?
Son! Harry turns to see his dad, Norman Osborn, in the mirror. I'm here.
Dad? I thought you were...
No. I'm alive in you, Harry. Very Lion King line there. Now it's your turn. You swore to make Spider-Man pay. Now make him pay.
But Pete's my best friend.
And I'm your father. You're weak. You'll always be weak. You'll always be weak until you take control. Now you know the truth about Peter. Be strong, Harry. Avenge me. Harry shakes his head. Avenge me! No! Harry throws the dagger at the mirror. When the mirror shatters, Harry sees there's a secret passage behind it. Harry enters the secret room to find the Green Goblin mask, pumpkin bombs, and the Goblin serum. Harry then sees 2 different gliders. One of them is the Green Goblin one. The other one is purple. Mislead! I do like that scene though.
Yeah, it was a nice
It's
scene.
really good.
That was good acting from Franco in that scene as well.
It was just good to see Willem Dafoe back too.
Yeah, always.
Glad he came back.
It's like, can we have you back for one day? But he's probably going, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright.
Cut to daytime. It's time for John and MJ's wedding. MJ has been looked over by Mrs. Jameson. The wedding march music begins. Everyone in the church stands up and looks towards the entrance. Harry is there looking relaxed, but also a little creepy. The question I pondered when I saw the scene when I first came out, had Harry taken the Goblin serum at this point? This question ate away at me for 2 or 3
That would have been
years.
so annoying until the next one came out.
Because you're like, did he take it? Has he actually got the serum now? Because I can't tell. And he doesn't say anything.
Until you find out.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3, though, shows him taking it later on, so he hasn't taken it by that point yet.
No.
Maybe he's still thinking about it. Like, does he really want to do this? If he does it, then there's a good chance Pete could die.
He's got to choose between his father and Peter, pretty much.
Pretty much.
MJ's friend from the play comes out and gives John a note. John does not look impressed. I always feel that they probably end up together, the friend and John.
Yeah.
I think she wanted him.
Should we just get married here?
Yeah.
Call Deborah.
The caterer?
Tell her not to open the caviar.
Your voice is so gravelly there. It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Cut to MJ running through New York in her wedding dress. Peter is sitting on his bed, doing nothing. I mean, is that all he does when he's not Spider-Man or at college or working? He just sits and stares in his bed? Anyway, the camera pans around to his face to reveal that MJ is in his doorway.
Had to do what I had to do.
Mary Jane?
Peter, I can't survive without you.
You shouldn't be here.
I know you think we can't be together, but can't you respect me enough to let me make my own decision? I know that there will be risks, but I want to face them with you. It's wrong that we should only be half alive, half of ourselves. I love you, so here I am, standing in your doorway. I've always been standing in your doorway, naked.
Oh dear.
Isn't it about time somebody saved your life? Well, say something.
Thank you, Mary Jane Watson.
Peter and MJ passionately kiss.
Whoa, when Kirk Connors get here?
Peter, get it done.
Or I'm failing you.
You just see him like as they're in the bed. He's like, "Get it done." My web fluid's not working.
Connors?
Police sirens can be heard outside.
Go get him, Tiger.
Peter disappears out the window. MJ runs to look out the window. Spider-Man swings into frame and swings down the street with emergency vehicles. It then cuts back to MJ. She has a worried look on her face. Do you think it's fair for Peter out there? Or is it fear that she may have made the wrong decision?
Oh, she's so indecisive, this girl.
Yeah, they both are though.
Where's Gwen Stacy?
Can never decide.
End of movie. Well, that was a hoot. Simply marvelous. Let's get to our rankings.
Nobody does it, Bennett. Movie reviews and pitches.
Right. So we've done our ratings now for Spider-Man 2 from 2004. Of course, I won't be doing my ratings this week because it will be just 2 people doing it, and I always excuse myself when it's a 3-person podcast. So let's see where Spider-Man 2 finishes on the MRU charts. For story, Tenson, what have you given it?
So for story, I've given 5 out of 5. I think the story is really well done. The whole conflict that Spider-Man and Peter Parker goes through throughout the movie, the many obstacles he has to try and conquer, is really well told. And yeah, so that's why I've given it 5 out of 5 for the story.
Fair enough. And Keelin, what have you given it?
I also did the same. I gave it a 5 as well, pretty much for the same reasons. It was just well fleshed out. I guess the structure of it made up in bits. Every scene that came after one another just built on itself very well. Made you really feel for Peter more in this movie. Like, after the first movie, you think, oh, what are they going to do with the story? And then they just push you straight more into that world, give you more depth, more context. Yeah, just like how they made us feel involved. But yeah, great story. Love the subliminal messages in the between the lines as well. Like this whole script.
Yeah. So good.
Great story. 5. Nothing else to be said about that. You covered it all pretty much, Tenson.
As did you.
Nice. So 2-5 starts things off. I would have personally given it 5 out of 5 as well. I think the story for a superhero or Spider-Man is perfectly told. It gives you like the reasons to why Peter Parker wants to give up being Spider-Man, but it doesn't just tell you, it shows you. You have all these, and it's not just one thing that changes his mind, it's just a whole hour of build-up till you realise he can't do both things. He's going to have to give something up. And he realises that. I think the payoffs from the early parts of the movie, or even later on, pay off really well. And I think, story-wise, there's not much better you can do than this. That's why 5 out of 5. Right, for acting, Keelin, what have you given it?
I give this one a 5 as well. Just compared to the last movie, I feel like everyone kind of upped their game a little bit. Even Kirsten Dunst, but Kirsten Dunst almost still made this go down to a 4. But you know, we got Tobey Maguire coming back, killing it as always. Good old Rosemary coming in to save the day with just, I think he was the best part of the whole movie. Can't really say anything else on that. You got JJJ. Enough said. I think the acting was just a lot more. Everyone brought more to the table. This one, I was actually quite happy with how everything sounded, and the odd stuff there, like with Kirsten's dance, her character's acting can feel a bit flat sometimes. Even Tobey Maguire's, I'm just like, ooh, that was a bit weird for the mood of the scene, but there's just enough for it to stay at a 5 for me, so that's why it's that.
Tenson, what have you given acting out of 5?
So I've given acting 4.5 out of 5. Pretty much the same reasons as you. I was looking at a 4, but then I was like, oh, up it a bit more for, like, you know, how great J. Jonah Jameson and Alfred Molina as Doc Ock is. Yeah, I agree when you said about Tobey Maguire's acting can get a bit shaky at times and quite cheesy, as Kirsten Dunst as well. But yeah, aside from that, I think it's really well done, really well performed.
Very much between 4.5 and 5 myself. I'm trying to think of myself, is there anything that I look and watch this movie and go, man, this is cringe or this is horrible? I don't think there is.
Nah, I don't, that's why I'm at a 5.
That's why I would give it a 5. I think if you can say Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire, who still were good.
Yeah.
They were just outshined by Alfred Molina, who is now the pinnacle Doc Ock. That's why they had to bring him back, because they couldn't recast him. I even thought Mr. Dickovich was great.
Oh, of course. How we
such little screen time, but such a powerful presence.
J. Jonah Jameson. I even thought Rosie, she only had like 3 or 4 lines. But man, I cared about her when she died.
Yeah, you could feel the chemistry between her and Ock as well, which was quite nice.
J.K. Simmons did say up the game. Because there's no origin story this time, you can get fully into J.K. straight away. The worst performers are good, and the best performers are amazing. So I can't say nothing less than a 5, I'd say, for this. So, no, fair enough. For how well it holds up, Tenson, what have you given it?
So for this, I've also been tossing it up between 4.5 out of 5. I've gone 4.5. Yeah, overall the movie does hold up pretty well. Some of the CG, I think, gets a bit. You can tell it was early 2000s CG, but overall it's good in terms of how well it's held up. Not much more I can add to that.
And Keelin?
I give it a 5. I agree with you on the part of this, like the CG's like not maybe holding up as well today, but mainly the reason it's at 5 is between the 2 years it took, like from Spider-Man 1 to Spider-Man 2, big upgrade in terms of CGI. Like I watched them in comparison to each other. I was just like, oh my god, like massive upgrade in only 2 years. So I'm like, for the time 2004, it's pretty alright. And how well, I know it's like how well it holds up, but I still think I look at it, I'm like, oh, it does look, you can notice it's CGI, it does look a bit cheesy, but I like it. It's a nice mood to it, so it's still a 5 for me either way. Bloody hell. Yeah, I love, this is the probably best.
Just bloody hell.
Bloody hell, my Irish has come back, but I'm speaking in an Aussie accent.
For me, I would give it 4.5. I think the CGI is noticeable, even though it doesn't distract you from the movie. Yeah. There are some scenes where I go, yeah, but it is a little bit dated, so it can't be a perfect movie for holding up if you notice things. So that's why I'd give it 4.5 if it's the case too, because everything else, yeah, practically everything looks good. But every time, well, not every time, but a lot of the times they go to CG, it does look CG. Hard to avoid it because it was the time, but like Keelin said, this thing, it's how well it holds up, not how well it was at the time. So I think that's why you got to take half a point off, because it doesn't distract, but it's still there. For music, Tenson, what have you given it?
I have to give the music 5. Honestly, perfect score. I tend to listen to the score more than the first film. I think, for example, the scene where Harry finds all the goblins stuff, the build-up of that score is so good. And also the bank robbery scene, Elfman's score and that was fantastic. So yeah, I've given it a 5, and the main theme, iconic.
And Keelin?
Same. I gave it a 5 as well. Yeah, just good themes all around. Danny Elfman returning, slaying it always. It's not too much difference between the soundtracks, apart from the added in songs during a montage or something. But those are nice additions. I did like those. But yeah, there's nothing too much that changed up over the soundtrack, so there's no really reason for me to put it down. I'd give it a 5 last time, I think, for Spider-Man 1, so 5 again this time, killed it. And just nice additions to round it all out and make it new. So, yeah, 5.
No, I would agree with 5 as well. Yes, we gave it a 5 last time for Elfman. Well, me and Kim would have. Yeah, Danny Elfman's score is iconic for the theme. And I think, yeah, the music itself just enhances the film in every way.
As Keelin said, the songs as well. Like, I think the end credit songs are really good too, and the montage at the play where he's getting ready is really good too.
Yeah, every scene they use music. It was perfectly done. It's no fault I can find in it. I can't go, well, they shouldn't have used this, or they shouldn't use that. So again, if you can't find any faults, then how can you mark it down?
Exactly.
For visuals, how good it looks. Keelin, what have you given it?
5. I give it a 5, mainly because I was just such a sucker for those like on the wall, or on the side of the wall, or on the side of the train, like physical fight scenes. Oh, the fast pace and how fluid they actually made the camera in those scenes was just textbook. And yeah, just the rest of the camera shots, like you said, when Spidey was swinging and it was the reflection of Oc's goggles, that shot of Oc just slowly sinking into the water, even if his face did look quite heavily CGI'd in that, and quite younger than he normally looks. But yeah, just mainly, it's the main reason it's 5 is just mainly because of the camera work in this movie. I think it was a leaps beyond what the last movie was.
And for you, Tenson?
I've given the visuals a 5 as well. I think, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of the shots in the film, the fight sequence near the end, I think is one of my favourite fight scenes in a movie. But yeah, just the reflection shots, particularly of Rosie, her like death scene, and the reflection of Spider-Man in Doc's glasses.
And just
really
the whole hospital scene, I forgot. We should probably mention that as
well.
That whole scene, just
the tension.
Because that's got to be a testament to the acting as well. That's probably why acting's 5. It's a pair of 4 limbs being controlled by strings, and they're screaming their heads off. I believe it. I'd be pissing myself. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, that whole sequence was really well shot.
Yeah.
There's not as many iconic shots. Like the first one had more iconic shots, like had the Spider-Man dripping blood, the upside down MJ kiss. But this one just had amazing shots that when you watched it, it was like, this is really, really good. Yeah. So you've seen the reflection ones already. The hospital scene, I was going to say, because the hospital scene alone always makes it that should be a 5-star, because those shots are amazing. The shot when Spider-Man goes between the truck, the spot when he goes through the bridge.
Oh, that bridge shot. Oh.
Even the one where he swings through the paper. Yeah, every time I look at some of these shots, what I was doing in the notes is I have to keep writing, this is a cool shot, this is a cool shot, this is a really cool shot. This is my favorite of the cool shots. It's just so many. So yeah, even like the reflection with Harry, of Norman in the mirror. How do you visualize someone who's not there? You have in the mirror, because the mirror is the window to your soul. So if you're seeing Norman, you would see him through the mirror.
And that's what he said, oh, I'm alive in you.
Yeah.
I'm alive in you.
Yeah, like Mufasa says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you feel?
I'll let you know it's Rafiki. It says
he lives in you.
I can't see him. Look harder.
Deeper. Sleep.
Let's go through the results we got anyway here. For story, Tenson, you gave it 5 out of 5. Keelin, you gave it 5 out of 5. For acting, Tenson, you gave it 4.5 out of 5. And Keelin gave it 5 out of 5. For how well it holds up, Tenson gave it 4.5 out of 5. And Keelin gave it 5. For music, Tenson gave it 5 and Keelin gave it 5. And for visuals, how good it looks, Tenson gave it 5 and Keelin gave it 5. That gives Tenson 24 out of 25 possible stars. And Keelin 25 out of 25 stars. This gives it a 49 out of 50 and makes it second place on the MRU table. Jurassic Park is a perfect score. Yeah, but now it goes into second place because Jumanji, and since the 6th or 7th episode of Nobody Does It Bennett, Jumanji and Jurassic Park have been the top 2. No one's even got near them. But now Spider-Man 2 is just below Jurassic Park in second with 49 points. So Jurassic Park's got 50 stars. Then it goes Spider-Man 2 in second place with 49 stars. Then Jumanji from 1995 in third place now with 47.5 stars. Spider-Man from 2002 with 43.5 stars. So with Spider-Man, we've gone from 43.5 stars to 49 with Spider-Man 2. And I think it's a fair comparison.
That's very fair, because I do think the second was better than the first.
Oh, 100%.
I think it's one of the best superhero films of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
To be up there
It's a classic.
and 49 stars, that's exactly, not exactly, but that's where I'm happy for it to be. If you like what you hear or have any suggestions or thoughts for us, who knows, it might be about Spider-Man 2. Well, you can contact us by going to the Nobody Does It Bennett Facebook page or by hitting us up on the Twitter at NobodyDIBennett. You can also email us at nobodydoesitbennett@outlook.com or by going to our website nobodydoesitbennett.buzzsprout.com. Nobody Does It Bennett is available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and other podcast outlets. Nobody Does It Bennett is now also available on YouTube, so don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, that's a Bennett with 2 N's and 2 T's. Now that we've gone through our rankings, Keelin and Tenson, do you guys have any final thoughts about Spider-Man 2?
If you haven't seen it, watch it, and then after you've watched it, come watch this podcast again.
Watch this, then watch Morbius, then watch this again and realize how much better it is.
And realize how blessed. 18 years difference, that's all.
And you'd probably think that Morbius was the older film. But watching it too, going, wow.
Yeah, that's all to say. Just a fantastic film, and if you haven't seen it, I don't know, have you been living under a rock or something?
For me, Spider-Man 2 had a tough job. It had to try and beat the first film. This was made extra difficult with the fact that director Sam Raimi had to go straight into pre-production after the Spider-Man was completed. The train sequence had to be started 2 years before the movie release. That's how much time and effort was needed for it. With all that against it, it simply blows my mind. Not only does it, in my opinion, surpass the first Spider-Man film, but it has stood the test of time to not only remain one of the best Spider-Man movies, but one of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Sam Raimi, thank you for making this film.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Tenson, thank you for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Keelin, thank you for joining me tonight.
Anytime, thank you.
And thank you for listening. Remember, some others may do it better, but nobody does it Bennett. Take care.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Rant?
It's the end of the show, and now it's time to go. Don't be sad, just be glad that nobody does it Bennett.